Mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Shalom to the saints of Israel. What's happening, y'all? Shalom, shalom. Am I coming in all right? Put a 7 in the chat if you can hear me okay. 7 in the chat if you can hear me okay. Who's in the chat, man? Shout out to Biomilq. Shalom, Mike. Karat Alive. Shalom, my brother. Shalag, what's good, my brother? My good family down in Jacksonville. The house of El Kalan. Shalom. All right. All praises, man. Let me find out some folks, man, that ain't wiped their feet yet, man. What's happening? Shemai Wines, you put a 2 in there, man. What happened? You can't hear me? Let me know what's going on, all right? Hopefully you well. My Trinity brother. Hopefully you well. My Trinity brother. Okay, let me see what's happening over there. We're going to get started in a minute. I'll get started in a minute. All praises. Man, interesting times we living in, y'all. Do y'all ever like reflect on the fact that, man, we are living history right now? The things that we read about in books, the things that you see and we see in movies, I mean, it's the same stuff we dealing with right now, real time, in the lifespans of yours and mine's. Very, very interesting times that we in right now. But y'all know the drill, man. My good faithful family that's already rocking. I know all of y'all wiped your feet. For everybody that's coming in after the fact, anybody that's watching this video after the fact, man, do I gotta, give me a little cup to panhandle online and say, we'll keep doing DSTMs for likes? I mean, come on. Don't make your brother beg, man. Nah, I ain't even that honor like that, man. I'm just trying to make sure this algorithm, man, don't cheat your brother. And that this vital information for Israel, man, gets out there. Never for vainglory, never for anything outside of the fact that, man, the spirit of the Lord is on me and it tells me, put this information out there, man. Israel's got to hear it. Israel needs it. And I can't do it alone. There's a lot of brothers out there, man, that's putting out good information. And I need you, brothers and sisters, man, to do your job, man. Share this video to your particular platforms if you have them. Send a link via email to your friends and family. Promote it any way that you can. You know, that's how you can help me out as well. But outside of that, man, Kohaf, shalom, all right? Hopefully you're doing good too. Shalom, shalom to you, brother. Uh, we're gonna go ahead and get started, man. You see the headlines. It's true. Yeah, the U.S. is preparing executive orders for apocalyptic scenarios. Why is the so-called white man even talking about apocalyptic scenarios? Why is he talking in biblical terms? Why is he concerned about biblical narratives? See, that's the thing that the government ain't telling. They want you distracted. They want our people distracted out there looking at the damn Johnny Depp divorce court. They want to worry about what's happening with the Kardashians. They're wondering who the next Laker coach is going to be. They're worried about, is Young Thug and Gunna going to get out of jail? I mean, all this other foolishness and folly. Everything but what's really going on, man. The government is talking about we're preparing for an apocalyptic scenario. The only type of terminologies you can get up out of that is biblical based. So if we all are following by a biblical standard and a biblical understanding, we know what time it is and we know what that means. It goes right along with Revelation 12. It goes right along with, all of the other prophetic scenarios in Jeremiah 23 and Micah 5 or Micah 4, I should say. Bondage, captivity, destruction of the nation, so forth and so on, man. It's all happening. And America says we got to get prepared for apocalyptic scenarios. You got the Rockefellers talking about major famine and food shortages coming in the next 6 months. You're talking about the Illuminati. You're talking about the elites. These are the ones they're even saying prepare within the next 6 months. There's going to be a major food crisis. So we only got until the end of the year, according to the so-called white man who controls every damn thing. And if he in his white guilt tells you and me, hey, get ready, I don't know what to tell you. The Most High already said, get ready. The Most High already told us to prepare ourselves. Now, if our people, okay, you need to come out the shady lips of the so-called white man. He's got to tell you, get ready, huh? That's what it's gonna take? Okay. So a lot of things is going on, man. Um, Biomilk. A lot of our brothers and sisters, man, don't even have any idea or a clue about what that is. But we're talking about GMO, engineered human breast milk, ironically, being created in the midst of a baby formula shortage. How ironic! How ironic! It's a lot of things that's happening in the earth, man. And you know what time it is. We're gonna get to it right here. Bigger thing is, that we need to be keen to is really understanding and knowing what's going on with the targeting of our brothers and sisters, man, out here in these streets. But when you look at it from the historical perspective of the biblical narrative, we've always been involved in hate crimes. We've always been victims of racial wars. Just look at the history. Isn't it always another nation, another nationality that afflicts us, puts us in bondage, kills us, rapes our women? I mean, look at the history. Yeah, we had our own civil issues, during the times of the kings. But any other time, it was always another nation. That was part of our cursings. The Most High told us that He was going to bring a nation from afar. Didn't He say that in Deuteronomy? Let's go there real quick. Bring another nation, another nationality. Uh, Deuteronomy 28:49. Am I sharing? Nope. Let me do that. Let me get on my game. Let's look at it. Deuteronomy 28:49 to 50. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far. So the Most High is always going to bring different nations and different nationalities against us from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So many of us already understand this to know and to be the so-called white man. The eagle being the representation of the so-called white man, be it during the times of the Greeks, during the time of the Romans, during the times of America. You even have what's known as the Caucasian eagle, and that's a old Greek uh, idol. But look, when you look at the first uh, in Greek mythology, look, the first thing that pops up. Hmm? Look at that. First thing that pops up when you put up a Caucasian eagle, what you get the bald eagle, right? And it also has links to Greek mythology. So when the Lord said that He was going to bring an eagle from far, I mean a nation from far, as swift as the eagle flies. So we know that they're going to be a predatory nation, a nation who is fierce as an eagle, a nation who has far, vision, excellent vision to see and spot its prey, one that is patient, that will descend upon its victims, right? All characteristics of the eagle. But one thing that we do know now isn't the bald eagle now is becoming an endangered species. And isn't that the same thing with the so-called white man and his race and his people and his seed and his bloodline? They're becoming endangered. This is why their backs against the wall. This is why you're hearing about these manifestos that's being written out by the Buffalo shooter who's concerned about the so-called white race being obliterated. Hey, but you can't do nothing against that because the Most High wrote it. The Most High said that they're going to be done. We all know that. right? So nations are going to come against us, man. We're going to be the victims of all of these particular racial attacks, the nations rising against nation, you know, civil unrest. We covered the scripture last week in Proverbs where it said, "He that hideth hatred with lying lips and uttereth the slander is a fool." You can't be in denial of recognizing that we're being hated on and victimized. We got the so-called white man that came against us, man. You see the Spaniards, you see the French, you see the Dutch, you see the Egyptians, we've seen the Assyrians, we've seen the Syrians, we've seen the Moabites, the Ammonites, we've seen the Midianites. You know, all throughout our history in the biblical narrative, we've been oppressed by all these other nations, man. We've been in constant war, we've been in racial wars all of our existence when we go against the laws of the Most High. Look at it, verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. Well, haven't we just get through seeing deaths of the young and deaths of the old? I think in the Buffalo shooting, I think the youngest person that got killed was in their 30s. Everybody else was of an elder age. We see this going on right now. So, in understanding and seeing what's happening with the targeting of our people, you know, there's chain emails and chain, text going around speaking about their white supremacists are planning attacks on our people in Walmarts and Targets in particular counties throughout America, mostly on the East Coast. I'm pretty sure most of them on the East Coast. These I don't know if any of y'all gotten them, but there is messages that are being sent around, whether they're chain emails, whether they're fraudulent, who knows. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, the scriptures is letting us know that we can't be ignorant of any matter, small or great. Look at this real quick. Brother sent this to me this morning. Let me share this with y'all, and I'm gonna be right back. Uh,
Ethnic intimidation is at the center of a terrifying situation at a grocery store.
Now, this is like 15 minutes outside of Detroit. Shout out to Bayan, Shakal, and his family. Hopefully, y'all well out there. This is a couple days ago. This is after the Uvalde shooting. This is after um, the Tops shooting over there in Buffalo. This is after the mass shooting at the market down in downtown LA. This is after the shooting that went down over in San Bernardino. This is after all these other shootings that we covered so far this week and last week. This is post after hearing about, you know, these chain emails and texts and messages that's going on. So is it possible that these particular attacks that's being rumored about could be happening? Well, just look.
The center of a terrifying situation at a grocery store in Dearborn.
A man attempted to run down two people outside Westbourne Market while yelling racial slurs. 7 Action News reporter Nana Senchibonsu explains how this unfolded.
Good evening. Dearborn police tell us that the man who is now facing charges followed the black shoppers, made racial slurs, and even waved a baseball bat in their direction.
It's absolutely scary.
Knowing that she could have been harassed outside of a grocery store because of her race, Tracy Jackson says she comes to Westbourne Market off of Michigan at least once a week.
This is my quick in and out so that I can get home to my children. So to say that possibly that would be deterred and, you know, someone would stand in the way of me and my children and my family, that's absolutely shattering. That's extremely scary.
Dearborn police say a white man made several racial slurs at two black customers on May 13th. He followed them into the parking lot where he tried to hit them with his car. Police say he then got out of his car with a baseball bat, raised it over his head while he continued to yell racial slurs.
When incidents of hate go unchecked, we see what the outcomes are with these mass shootings happening all across our country.
Mayor Abdullah Hammoud says there is no place for racism in the city of Dearborn.
Ignorance is the most radical thing when we have to make sure that we combat hate in a unified way.
The man is facing several counts of felonious assault, ethnic intimidation, and a habitual offender fourth notice charge.
From my understanding, this individual has had similar offenses in other parts of the state.
Jackson says she's glad the police department got on top of the situation, but says unfortunately, the grocery shopping experience isn't the same for everyone.
Our guard has to be up. Our day-to-day does not look the same. We have additional concerns.
Now, police say that man is currently out on bond with a GPS tether. And as for those victims, police are commending them for coming out and speaking so they can quickly put that individual to justice. Another Saintio Bonsu for 7 Action News.
So they're saying that they're going to bring this man to justice.
At Midas,
Swiftly.
we make
Hold
sure
on one
every
second,
stop
man.
on your road
Shalaki.
trip.
3, 2, 1, boom.
So this is what we're seeing. Yeah, Karadaza, yeah. You said Florida was a main city. Yeah, there was a number of different counties in Florida. I think one also was like in Virginia, maybe. But yeah, a lot of them were down there in Florida. But nonetheless, you know, this particular incident happened over in Detroit or outside of Detroit. Now, what's the difference between that and then you had that man, the Edomite man that I showed the article last week, but there is a video out there in Florida, down there in Jacksonville, where the sister man was in line and the damn Edomite just came up, tried to intimidate her, using racial slurs and the whole nine, man, and just start bombing on her. Same thing. You got a white man running around here, yelling out racial slurs, following people around in the stores, threatening people with a bat and with his car. And these cats is lone wolves, man. They out here doing this on their own. So imagine once they really start moving on one accord and start trying to victimize our people. The greater question is where's Slow Biden at? He didn't waste no time in signing a damn anti hate Asian bill when some Moabites was getting robbed and beat on the streets in San Francisco and different areas. Then they had the shooting down there in Atlanta, where some of them got hit. I mean, but that's minute compared to the victimization that happened to our people throughout the annals of history. Is Slow Biden gonna go out there and is he gonna write an anti-black bill, anti-hate black? No, he ain't doing that. Offering up his fork-tongued prayers and saying we're just gonna take the guns. Were they talking about all that gun control, man, when they had the shooting of the Asians, the Moabites down there in Atlanta about a year ago when the dude shot up the nail shop or the massage parlor, whatever it was. I think about 6 or 8 of them got killed. Were they talking about taking the guns then? I don't remember that. But where's the anti hate bill for the blacks and Hispanics? Has that been signed yet? No. What's that tell us though? Does America love us? Give me a damn break, man. So that was just recently, 2 days ago, in the outskirts of Detroit. Another threatening and attack on our people. Okay. And you know what else is going to get weaponized? The feminist movement. The so-called black women are going to be out there talking about where the black man to protect the black woman. Y'all don't love us, but are still stomping on the graves and spitting on the graves of Kevin Samuels or whoever else. Unbelievable, man. Your sister's got to you got to pick which one do you want. You want a strong brother, who's got his head on straight. The scriptures tell you that you're supposed to be with a man whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord. In the book of Sirach, I think it's in the 37th chapter, I believe. I'm getting old, so don't quote me on it, but you can find it. Be thou continually with a man whom thou knowest to keep the commandments. It's not going to be too soon before that gets used as a divisive tool against us, within our nation. Somebody's going to come out and talk about where are the black men to protect the black women? That's always the scenario. But you don't want that black man to lead you. You don't want that black man to, run your household. You don't want him to be a father to your children. We got to get it together, Israel. We gotta get it together. Let's go here in Second Ezra 6. Let's read a few scriptures, and then we're gonna get to this. Get to some more of these stories. Second Ezra 6:18. It says, "And it said, Behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth." So we're reading about the second coming of the Lord. We're reading about the judgment and the Lord touching America and the rest of the inhabitants of the earth for the wickedness and the rebelliousness that prevails as a spirit here in the earth. Okay, verse 19, and will begin to make inquisition of them. So now the Most High is going to start making inquisitions. He's looking into the works of men. He's looking into the works of Israel. He's looking into the works of the heathen. He's judging everyone accordingly, right? What they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. So we're looking at Jacob's trouble. We're looking at the affliction of um of Israel being fulfilled at this particular time. Now is the time for the liberation of our people to come wake up, utilize the grace and the mercy of the faith of the Most High, man, to get your act together, get our act together, learn to repent, learn to keep these laws and these commandments. Once we commit ourselves to being back righteous men and women of the Lord, man, this whole thing is a wrap. That's why we're all tuning in. That's why we're all locking in. That's why we're all observing the time. This is why we're all looking and seeing and waiting for more signs to see the affliction of our people being fulfilled, because the Lord is out there making inquisition. He's watching. He's saying anybody that's hurting us and unjust in their unrighteousness and moving unjustly, the times is now. Verse 20 says, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished. So the world as we know it is going to vanish away, not the world itself. The earth was made for our sakes, man. So the earth is not going to be destroyed. But the world as we know it will begin to vanish away, man. This whole uh, uh, oligarchy, governmental system that the so-called white man set up, the New World Order, the Great Reset, all this other stuff, man. He's changing and rearranging the world as we know it, and it's vanishing away. But the Most High is going to completely wipe away all remnants of the so-called white man's rule, his laws, his injustice, or is it unjust ways, his wickedness, the sodomite agenda, everything else, man. The Lord said, and the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished. So the world as we know is going to be finished. It's going to be a new world order, but it's going to be under the reign of Hamashiach Yahushai and the children of Israel. It says, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. So the books of judgment is going to be opened, right? Verse 21, it says, and the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. Last year, I did a video and showed a couple of videos, man, of premature babies, man, and newborn babies just fresh out the womb. We're talking like hours and days. Up popping with their hands on their hand, on their heads, completely open and awake. I mean, you got babies popping out with rows of teeth. You understand what I'm saying? Walking fast. In other words, we're seeing time moving by faster, right? We're seeing the maturity of the earth reaching its peak. We're seeing youth growing up faster. We're seeing an acceleration of speed. Why? Because the scriptures say that the time's going to be cut short for the elect's sake. So time is going to be cut short, man. That means things is going to be moving even faster. We're already halfway through 2022. Damn near. I mean, what? June is next month? I mean, next week? How fast is time moving, man? Let's read on. Verse 22. And suddenly shall these sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Oh, really? So the bare shelves, the food shortages, the diesel shortages, the fertilizer shortages, the Rockefellers now talking about there's going to be a major food crisis in the next 6 months. Oh, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. So when the so-called white man pops up and he's talking about, hey, it's going down, we're even nervous. Put 2 and 2 together. And they said it's going to be global. They said not one country will be left untouched. Everybody's going to get it. Okay. Reading on, it says, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man hear it, they shall suddenly be afraid. Yeah. So once that trumpet gets blown, you're going to see a trumpet blown for war. A trumpet's going to be blown for famine. The trumpet that we need to be listening to is when it's time to gather, when it's time for us to assemble, when it's time for us to fall under the banner of righteousness and truth, man, to choose our side, to stand on the side of righteousness and not wickedness. That trumpet's been blown. The brothers that's out there on the highways and the byways, man, crying aloud, sparing not, lifting up their voices like trumpets, man, that's our time, your time to awake out of sleep, man. So this is where we're at. The rest of the world, man, they're going to get caught like a thief in the night, man. Once they really start seeing what's going on, they're going to be caught and afraid. There's people like, you just seen the sister out there. She said it's very scary right now. All she's trying to do is just go to the store. Well, that's the time when you got to get out there, man, and wake your sister up and tell her, look, sis, this is the end times. Don't be waiting for your damn Ishmaelite mayor to try to do something for you. Don't wait for slow Biden to come over there and once a tragedy done already hit, to come over there and say our prayers are with everybody here, and my God, we have to stop these people with the guns. We got to do something about it. We got to change the laws. The Second Amendment isn't unchangeable. We got to get out there and vote. You waiting for another speech like that, huh? Why are people are still rolling over in their graves saying, "Damn, when are we gonna wake up?" So people's gonna be afraid in these last days. Verse 24 says, "At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies." So you're going to see a dividing amongst friends, man, fighting each other like enemies. Why? Because the times are going to be so ruthless, man, where everybody's going to be out for self. "And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run." So you're talking about even more droughts is going to be happening, right? Let's read verse 25. It said, "Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation in the end of your world." That's what we all waiting on, man. That's what we're praying for. That's what we're fasting for. That's what we're seeking the face of the Most High 10 times or more, because it says, those of us that remain are going to see the salvation. And it said, and shall escape. We're going to see the end of this world, the world of the so-called white man and established man. Earlier in this chapter, man, the scriptures tell us that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. That's the world we want to be a part of. We need to end the Esau's world up out of here, right? Verse 26, it says, "And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning." So some of us are going to escape and going to make it and not die. And they're going to live through all of this tribulation, going to witness and see. The Most High's got to leave a witness for everything that happens, so that the generation to come can know. Remember, like in Jeremiah, what was it, 23, where it says, "No longer we're going to be saying that the children of Israel got delivered out of the house of the Egyptians, but out of the land of the north." Somebody's got to be able to relay that history. Somebody's got to live through it. Even in the scripture, I forgot which scripture it is, but it talked about with the I think it was for the Passover or one of the feast days. It said, when the children ask, "What meaneth thee?" that you can tell them why we're keeping these particular feast days and ceremonial days. I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember the scripture off the top of my head, but if y'all remember it, you can put it in the chat. But some of us is going to escape death, man. Yahweh Shai even said it's going to be some of us who will not see death during these times. See, that's what we're looking for. Look at this. Verse 9, it says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." So we know that there's going to be a world that follows the end of this particular world that we're in right now. So everything that we're seeing is really pretty much just par for the course, man. We're just riding the wave, going through the motions of what needs to happen in order to lead to the end of this particular world, man. But these mass shootings, the victimization of our people, man, is part of the scenario. All the time in our captivities, man, we was always going up against the other nations. The nations was always coming against us, always talking about them Jews, always talking about them Israelites, the children of Israel, the one who serves that other God up in the heaven, the one who, always being segregated because of our beliefs, because of who we were, because of the identification of us being the Lord's chosen people. The nations was always jealous. They was always on our heads because we had the Most High Yahweh on our side. And when we rebelled against it, we rebelled against the Most High, We got punished and victimized for it. And the nations knew that's when it was time to take advantage, man, and to wear us out. And we are doing and living the same thing. Let's read Psalm 64. To the chief musician, the Psalm of David. Hear my voice, O God, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Do you see that? You know, this is what we're talking about when we're hearing about the secret counsel of the wicked. You know, the diabolical plots that are out there that not only are utilizing to destroy our people, you know, that's why got our people out here brainwashed, worried about can they still go and kill their unborn children. When we covered the statistics regarding that, well over 100,000 so-called black babies were killed in a year through abortion, and the so-called white man says, yes, that's right. Keep that power alive. Allow us to help you destroy your seed line. And now you got all this hype, all this disinformation, and all this trickery that's going on. They ain't even signed a thing into law, man, but they already got people mobilized in the LGBTQ HIV community out there, and all the pro abortion folks out there rioting and wilding out in the streets. It's not even law. It ain't even signed. Nothing has happened. Off of the rumor and the hype, people is out there running around. Secret counsel of the wicked, man. We don't have to talk. Do we need to talk about Tuskegee? Do we need to talk about the experiments in Guatemala? Do we need to talk about the smallpox and the death of the Native Americans and the indigenous tribes here in the Americas? Do we need to hear about the secret plots about the lynching, the hangings, and the burnings, the Jim Crow? Huh? The secret councils of the wicked. You know, all of these governmental, federally funded programs that's designed to destroy the family, the black family, to keep the black man out. Do we need to talk about the prison industrial complex, man, lining up a whole system to keep our people stored away in prison houses? The Lord said, man, we have to hide, pray to be hidden from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, because he's plotting. He's plotting. The secret counsel of the wicked is what's got the indigenous tribes, man, stuck on reservations, living in squalor. You know, the Native American tribes, man, are living in complete squalor. People thinking because the fake ones that got licenses for casinos, oh, they're all balling, man. Them Indians, man, they got money. No, please go look at the what's the name of the tribe? They're out of South Dakota, I believe. Might be North Dakota. I think it's the Oglala tribe. And at one particular point in time in the 90s and into the 2000s, they had a medium household income of $7,000. 7,000 for the year is what they had to live off of. Let alone the drug abuse, the alcohol, you know, the whole nine. They completely destroyed. That's all because of the secret councils of the wicked. You got our people living and running around in what's known as projects, and it's nothing but a place of destruction for our people. And an enclosed petri dish of experimentation to seeing how a community can be destroyed. And then once that happens, they go and tear down the projects, man, kick the people out, gentrify the neighborhood, raise up the rents, and boost everybody about it after they've already destroyed a whole community of people. Man, ask anybody, man, that grew up in the projects, man, back in the days, man, there was all different types of programs that was helping the kids out. From summer programs, to food programs, to dance and art programs, book programs. I'm just talking about like in Watts, swimming pool. I mean, come on, roller skating. We have a real community. All that's gone. And Jake's still down there gang banging, then lost half of their projects and the whole. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Let me read on. It says, who wet their tongues like a sword and bend their arrows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. So we see what's going on, man. Wetting their tongue, man. They wetting their whistles, licking their lips. Can't wait to destroy. Can't wait to deceive. Can't wait to tell more lies. Can't wait to condemn and destroy. Bending their bows to shoot their arrows and even bitter words. So we know they use bitter words, but they're bending their arrows to shoot them too. They're aiming and they're shooting. They're victimizing our people, man. Mass shootings out there, targeting our people, lynching, hangings, and still and burnings. From the times of old and up until now. Our brothers are still getting lynched out there, man. They've been having lynchings, and records of lynchings for the past over the past last couple years. And every time they always talk about, oh, it was a suicide. Oh, we still investigating it for a hate crime. We don't know if it was. Come on, is that the same reason why Slow Biden had to sign the Anti-Lynching Act just in 2022? Because they were suicides, or maybe because they was actually going on, and he had to make something happen just so that he can try to still find favor with the so-called Negro who's got the mercy to fucking Salaki. I'm getting tired of still got the nerve to vote for that dude. Let me calm down. All right. Uh, let me read on. Verse 4. That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. Verse 5. They encourage themselves in the evil manner. They commune and laying snares privately, laying traps privately. So if this is something of a concern, brothers and sisters already know none of our people who fear the Lord should be out at no damn Walmart or Target today anyway. Your preparations was done yesterday before the sun went down. Unless you're a, lunar Sabbath keeper and your Sabbath fluctuates. But either way, we know that the majority of those who keep the Sabbath on Friday, sundown, Saturday, sundown, we ain't out shopping anyway. That's why the people in Buffalo got caught slipping. And he said, well, okay, well, we can go tomorrow. You can go tomorrow, but you should be diligently aware of what could possibly be happening. These things have floated around before, and they wound up being bogus. But in fairness, um, in fairness, we're gonna come back real quick. In fairness, the scripture says this. Sirach 5:15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small. So ignorance is never an excuse, man. We don't want to be caught out there, you know, wondering what if, what happened, maybe, maybe not. Just to have that information on deck is something to be aware of. When you leave out that house, man, you better make sure that you've armed yourself with the prayer and the protection of the Most High. You better pray that the Most High send, guardian and watching angels over you, man, to protect you from Satan and all evil when you go out. Because the times is evil right now. The times is wicked. And our people are involved in being the victims of secret counsel that's coming up against us. Right? So, oops, my bad. Where's we at? We was in Psalms. So let's drop down, man. Let's I'm gonna finish it up right here. It says they encourage themselves in the evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, "Who shall see them?" So the white man is out there creating these plots and plans, man, looking to deceive, looking to destroy. You're looking to kill. Whether it's just out in the open or whether or not, I think they just caught uh I don't know if this cat man out here in California. It was a dude. I think he had a Hispanic name though, but I don't know. But he just got busted. U-Haul full of guns. Um, that I'm pretty sure was going to be used in a manner of destruction. Couple of them were stolen. And one of them had the serial numbers, scratched off. They was getting ready to do some dirt with those things. Where and how, who, when, who knows? I think there was a couple of Edomites, man, that got busted. Um, FBI busted them. They was trying to plot to carry out another mass shooting of recent. Hold on, let me see if I can find that one. Is this the one? No. That's the one we covered last week. No, that was February. I mean, but look, I'm just looking at particular cases, man, and it's constantly popping up. The so-called white man plotting out all these damn attacks. Look at this: white men attacked 3 black men at Howard Beach in a hate crime. That was June of 2005. White supremacist groups organizing racist attacks on social media. Uh, May of 2020, caught on tape. Stacey Abrams plotting racist use of redistricting to stop white. Look at this madness. July 5th, 2020. Two neighbors reported white man for racist harassment. They're trying to get the power grid. So I might have been off on that one about a recent case, but it could be. I might just be typing in the information wrong. Uh, White replacement theory fuels racist attacks 12 days ago. I think Tucker Carlson, Lil Edomite over there on Fox News, he's paranoid. He worried about it. See. All right, let's get back to it. All right, so verse 6, it says, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. So they're taking real time, real plotting, real planning, man. They ain't talking about the the buck tooth redneck man who loves his sister. They ain't worried about them, man. Them cats is small time. We talking about the Bill Gates, the Rockefellers. We talking about the Davos groups. We're talking about the Bilderbergs. We're talking about the Ford Foundations. We're talking about all of them. These are the ones who's taking long term interest in the destruction of our people. These are the ones who's poisoning the food, the water, the mines. These are the ones who's changing history. These are the ones who's utilizing things with needles on the end of them with a serum inside of them to poke you with it to destroy your let me be quiet. You know what I'm talking about and where I'm going with that. You know, those are the ones who's out there thinking deep on how to knock off the children of Israel. But in verse 7, it says, but the Most High shall shoot them with the arrow. Suddenly they shall be wounded. So we're going to see a destruction of them, very shortly by the so-called, by the Most High. The so-called white man is going to be victims of his own circumstance. All right. Let me get another scripture in Psalms. Let's go to Psalms 11. Psalms 11 and 1 and 2, it says, to the chief musician, a psalm of David, in the Lord put I my trust. How say ye to my soul, flee as a bird to your mountain? For lo, the wicked bend their bow, they make ready their arrow upon the string, that they may privately shoot at the upright in heart. So there should be no mistaking that there is going to be plots and plans for us to be getting shot at and killed out here in these streets, man. Race wars is upon us. And you can't wait. Ain't no waiting for slow Biden to pop up and say, I'm going to sign the anti-black hate bill right away, to stop this. He ain't doing that. That's out of here. But you can see he protects his little Moabite servant so quick. As soon as he got into office, man, he signing it over. Anti-Asian and Pacific Islander hate bill. They get protected. We don't. But the wicked is out there bending their bows, man, ready to shoot the arrows at us. Brothers and sisters, man, make sure you're watching over your households, man, especially single sisters. You better stay on top of your game, man. Watching over your household yourselves. If you're single, if you got children, you got to really put your mama bear cloak on and really be prepared to watch over and protect yourself. And be out there goofing around and getting caught up and getting lost everywhere and don't know what's going on in the earth. I'm not telling you go run around and go find the first man, in your face that says shalom. You still got to be discerning and picking a proper husband, in a hedge. But you're going to definitely need to protect yourself and pray and continually pray for the shielding and the guidance of the Most High during these times. This is going to be a bad time for single sisters as we keep moving forward. Verse 3, it says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So we're seeing all the foundations of the earth are being destroyed, man. There's an old saying that says, if you don't know what to do what you know. And what's that? I always say at the end of every video, man, fear the Most High, keep his commandments. That's the number one thing that we can do, man. It doesn't matter how many damn bags of rice that you got and canned goods and bullets stocked up, and all of that is cool. But at the end of the day, man, if the Most High is not blessing you, if the Most High is not watching over and protecting your household, if the Most High is not teaching your hands to war, as it says in Psalms 144, it don't matter. You could be caught in a shot of luck out there in them streets, man. Nowhere near your supplies, nowhere near your stuff, and you stuck. Earthquake hit, riot in the streets. Who knows? And you separated from your home and your goods, man. How you gonna get to that stuff? So that's why you don't put all of your trust in them things. It's good to have. It's good to be prepared. It's good to make sure that you make provisions for your homes. You're supposed to do that. But the point of the matter, you can't put all your faith in it either. We covered that in Luke. I think it was Luke 17. We talked about that. Brother Aladada brought that out in his class a couple weeks ago. All right. There's another thing too that I was thinking about, and this is the times that we all need to be vigilant and watch. I know y'all saying, "Dang, we going a lot of scripture. When we gonna get to the current event?" Don't worry about it. We gonna get there. You relax. Hopefully, nobody getting lost. Everybody all right? Everybody good? Sure, I see you in the house. Shalom. What's happening, bro? Let me make sure I ain't got no bots or nothing popping up in here. Everybody all right? Before we continue on. All right. Look like everybody good. Running y'all. Shalom, shalom. Hopefully everything's all right with you. I did send up them prayers for your son. Hopefully he's okay. You can update me whenever. I'm just putting it out there. Manath in the house. Shalom. What's up, sis? Hey, shalom, elder. I see Rasha. A lot of scriptures flying from Karatazar. All praises. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. Everybody said we good, then we good. Let me open up a little bit more. Gonna double back. Let me double back up here. So here we go. Proverbs 12 27:12. It says, "A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished." So this is the time, man, that we got to be prudent. We got to be vigilant. We got to be wise and foresee the evil that's going on, man. You might need a damn lobotomy, man, if you looking around here and your brain ain't functioning enough to say that the times that we living in are evil, man. And we got to make provisions. We got to make sure that we're prepared and we're understanding and knowing what's going on in the earth, man. Secret councils are happening. The so-called white man just had a whole week last week committing themselves to secret council as they talked about the famine, as they talked about the plagues that's going around and what they're going to do to it, how they're going to change and rearrange world law to encompass everybody is going to be put under a particular mandate law guidelines, led by the WHO or the World Health Organization. They're over there discussing policy regarding economics, cashless society, the whole nine. This whole last week, the Davos group, man, Bilderberg meetings and all that other stuff. This happened from the 22nd to the 29th. I think it was 22nd to 29th. All I know is from like Monday all through this week. They over there making decisions about the direction that the world is going to be going over the next 6 to 8 years. And they're actually pushing to slim down the 2030 agenda to be even sooner. So, they pushing the issue, right? So it says a prudent man is going to foresee the evil and hide himself. This is why you're gonna see in the times coming up, man, where there's gonna be a famine of the word and all of that other stuff, man. Where the Most High is gonna put the spirit on brothers, man, to start disappearing and making it harder for our enemies to try to take us down. It said, but the simple pass on and are punished. So people wonder, well, why is the Most High, destroying the kids and this, that, and the third? Well, guess what, man? The Most High gave everybody opportunity to take control of the education and the guiding of your children over the last 2 years. All these lockdowns, all of the mandates, and all the other stuff, man, that made everybody start homeschooling. And no, our people were sitting back frustrated, didn't want to deal with their kids. Was all they wanted to do was drop them back off at the damn nurseries and kindergartens and drop them back out for the schools so that the so-called white man can indoctrinate them and start teaching about the LGBTQ agendas and everything else and taking over their minds. And the Most High said, I gave you opportunity to re-engage back with your kids, but no, no, no. You want to rush them and throw them right back into them schools. You want to go throw them right back into them death traps. You was out there picketing and protesting, mad that, okay, now that they're in school, they still got to wear masks. You're mad because they got to wear a mask. I mean, how many times did you hear people, our people out there frustrated because they had to put their kids back into these schools? I mean, or they couldn't put their kids back into schools because, it's too hard, to homeschool them. It's too hard spending all day with your kids. I mean, I heard it, I seen it. It's not for everybody, but sometimes you got to observe the opportunity and say, well, hold on, maybe I can, take back over how my children are raised and how they're actually being guided and the information that they're learning. And I can filter out the BS that's being taught just in the event that, there is curriculums that you got to follow. There is things that you got to be able to have in order to be accredited, in order for them to qualify for graduation to move on into, uh, uh, um, uh, college and so forth and so on, but you can still filter through the information. So let's just say, for instance, you're learning in the history class and your child or daughter, and they're talking about, the history of Christopher Columbus, whatever. You can go over that history and say, you know what, this is BS. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and here's the real history, but I know you're gonna have to answer this way so that you can pass the grade. They're getting the balance, they're getting the understanding of seeing, yeah, I heard about that, but I learned that was fake. When they can actually speak on it without being muzzled through the oppressive educational system. But see what happens? Are people rushing them to get them back into these schools, man? Boom. Now the kids get victimized again in these schools. When the Most I said, hey, you could have had them at home with you, or put in a system, or put into a homeschool system. It ain't always you just got to do it yourself. There's other correlations of homeschools that's around where kids can be amongst each other, but under the guidelines of a righteous environment. There's they exist out there. I used to have one. So it is what it is. But let's look at this real quick. Isaiah 57:1. Because I've heard and I've seen some people testimonies, and I'm hearing people being interviewed after the shooting, and some people are losing their faith in the Most High. Some people are questioning, why would God kill children? Why would the Most High do all this? Well, if they knew the law, the Most High even said that a rebellious child, they supposed to be stoned and put to death if they coming up against their parents. The Most High don't care about all of that. He's all flesh is as grass. There's no room for a rebellious and wicked child. So if the Most High put a child to death, that wasn't nothing for him if people understood and knew how our God functioned. But here's another perspective for our people to look at and understand too. You may have some people in your family who's questioning God, who's after this last shooting, they saying, well, why? If that's God, I don't want to serve him. I don't want to. Okay, Isaiah 57:1, it says, the righteous perish, not liveth, not thrive, not rules. The righteous will get put to death. You can say, man, they ain't hurt nobody, they never did nothing. That there isn't anything more innocent than a child at some point in time. before they get corrupted, before they get influenced and all that other stuff. So it says the righteous perishes, and no man lay it to heart. You got plenty of good men that's been put to death, plenty of good women that got put to death, and people don't even think twice about it. Don't even remember it. Didn't even hear about it. Don't know what's going on. You know, it's never really memorialized, right? It says, and merciful men are taken away, none considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come. So sometimes when the Most High said, look, I have mercy on whom I have mercy. But it says nobody considers that the Most High could actually be removing somebody to spare them from the evil that's to come. Because who knows what could have happened to them children in their futures. Some of them could have been, lined up for molestation and rape. Some of them could have been killed by another means. Some of them could have died of the incoming famine and plague. Who knows what the Most High could have had spared? And the Most High said, "Man, it's better for me to take them now and spare them for the evil that's to come, because we know that the time and the evil that's going to be present upon us." So sometimes we don't have to be scratching our head and say, why? We never consider maybe the Most High is actually sparing them from being destroyed. And I'm a father, so I sympathize and I understand. So it ain't like I'm speaking from perspective of, oh, you ain't got kids, so you wouldn't know what it's like to lose a kid. Heck yeah, I would know and understand. The thing is learning about acceptance, learning and understanding the will of the Most High, and then looking at it from a perspective of, well, who knows what could have happened? I mean, who knows? That child could have grown up, in the next 5 years and got bone cancer and leukemia and suffered through life for the rest of their life, or for the next 3-5 years while they're going through all kind of cancer treatments and pain and everything else. And, they just living life worse than it would have been for them if they wasn't, put to death faster. Nobody likes to get tortured. Nobody wants to go through hell like that. So who knows? Who knows? The one thing is to really understand the will of the Lord, man, and leave it at that. You know. But it said that the righteous man could be taken away just from and spared from the evil to come. Because as we know, man, Daniel told us the times is gonna be coming, it's gonna be worse than anything that you or I may care to witness. Daniel 12, it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince will stand up for the children of thy people. Michael is only standing for us, man. You white Christians and the rest of y'all out there praying for Michael and the angels. Stop now. Because he's standing only for the children of the people of the Lord, the children of Israel. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. I mean, that's a time, man, I fear. That's a time that I'm not looking forward to. You trying to tell me that the people that don't really understand the judgment of the Most High, man, the prophecies and the hell that's getting ready to come on this earth, that you would want your children to go through all of that, struggling, striving, and preparing for every manner of death and evil to come upon you? It's a hard pill to swallow, man, and a hard decision to make. Which one would you rather stand for? See, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time, and at the time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that should be found written in the book. So we just seen it earlier. It said the books are gonna be opened up from the firmament. Everybody's in that book, man, is gonna make our way out. I pray every day, man, that the Most High spares and has mercy upon my soul, my household, and all of you brothers and sisters, that seeking the face of the Most High, man, in sincerity and truth, that we make it up out of here. That we make it up out of here, because it's serious. But let me get to this PowerPoint, man. Let me get to this PowerPoint. Let's start looking at some of these articles, man, and we'll get to it. Hey, man, my brother, Big Busy, Big Business, man. What's good with you, bro? All praise to the Most High, man. What's good, Ike? Hey, man, hit me up, man. It's been a minute. Hit me up. My number's still the same. Um, y'all ready? Let's get to it then. Let me blow this up. Okay, so some of y'all been seeing, the narrative in the police shooting has actually been looking Um, a lot more suspect now. Very similar to the shooting that we just got to seeing back over there in Buffalo. Remember we covered the story where 911 was called and they hung up while the shooting was going on, man. I don't know, like I said, if some of y'all even seen the shooting. Dude popped out like it was Call of Duty. And he was good. He was lighting everything up in front of him. And then when he got to a white dude on the ground, he screamed, "No, no." Dude said, "Oh, sorry," and kept it moving. I got the video. I can't play it on YouTube, but if y'all ain't seen it, it's floating around. Wild stuff, man. And you wondering, when you just seen the chief of police over there in Texas, and he readily admitted and said, "Man, we dropped the ball." They had like 20 cops in the hallways. They didn't storm the door. They ain't do nothing. They hearing the shots go off. There were students in there, man, calling 911 and having conversations and talking about what's going on and begging for people to come in for damn near 45, 50 minutes. Nothing. Come to find out, a teacher propped the door open. Dude was able to slide on in. Why and how that happened? Interesting. The shooter was outside the school, shooting for 12 minutes before he went to the school. Where was the cops during them 12 minutes? The shooting is going on outside. A lot of questions to be had. A lot of questions to be had. Okay. So, police narrative on Texas school shooting in question as new details emerge. The reality is the reality is as horrible as what happened. It could have been worse. Abbott said the reason it was not worse is because law enforcement did what they do. Really, you see how they still find a prideful bone to stand on, and say the reason that it wasn't worse is because law enforcement did what they do. It could have been probably a lot less casualties if law enforcement did what they were supposed to do. But they're hanging their hat, acting as if we did a good job. Okay. They showed amazing courage by running towards gunfire for the singular purpose of trying to save lives. No, the officer said the reason why they didn't storm in is because they didn't want to get killed. They had to wait for the other tactical teams to show up that had, the body armor and they had the AR-15s and everything else. They had to wait until the score was even before they ran up in there. And then while they had all of them damn officers, why did it take one or two dudes that was off-duty border patrol agents to say the hell with this and run up in there? And they got stories that said the ones that did storm up in there said they was running in there to save their own kids and wasn't really concerned about all the other kids. Y'all hear about that? So let's move on. It says, and it is a fact that because of their quick response, getting on the scene, being able to respond to the gunman and eliminate the gunman, they were able to save lives. Unfortunately, not enough. However, the Associated Press reported late Wednesday that police waited outside the school for at least 40 minutes while parents and onlookers urged them to do something. There's been a lot of viral videos going on, man, that the parents was out there screaming and hollering and telling the cops, "Why don't you go in there, do something?" They're shooting. They wanted to run up in there. There was a woman, man. She got detained and slammed on the ground. They had tasers out, trying to stop parents from getting in there to save their children because they were looking at cops with their thumbs in their butts, looking at each other, saying, "What should we do?" So here you got the governor Abbott running around talking about how great a job they did. And then they end up finding out, oh, what you was outside watching for 40 minutes. See, here's one of the parents. Quote, let's just rush in because the cops aren't doing anything like they're supposed to. Javier Cazares, whose daughter Jacqueline was killed in the attack, told the AP more could have been done. There were 5 or 6 of us fathers hearing the gunshots and police officers were telling us to move back. Cazares told the Washington Post, we didn't care about us. We wanted to storm the building. We were saying, let's go because that is how worried we were and we wanted to get our babies out. So we're seeing that everything wasn't done, and there's a lot of speculation as to why and how some of these scenarios played out. I'm not saying they should have ran in there and just played Rambo and did what they did, but the fact of the matter is they could have caught him before he even went into the school. And the question remains is why did the teacher prop open the door? These are just questions that deserve answers. Let's move on. Here's a little timeline, right? Video and calls to 911 reveal a timeline of horror after gunman Salvador Ramos, 18, opened fire and fatally shoot 19 fourth grade students, two teachers on Tuesday, right? So it says at 11:27, video shows a rear door to the Robb Elementary School propped open by a teacher. Hello? Video shows, not speculated, not conspiracy, on video, rear doors opened and propped open by a teacher. 11:18, Salvador Ramos crashes his grandmother's truck nearby. The teacher goes inside the school, apparently to grab a cell phone. Ramos opens fire on two men at a funeral home across the street. The teacher is seen on video on her phone and believed to be calling 911. So at this particular point in time, if she witnesses this, why does she not go back, lock the door, close the door to the school? That's questionable. Why? Maybe she panicked. I don't know. But doesn't sound like she was thinking with her right mind, obviously. So first he shoots his grandmother, crashes the truck. Then he goes and starts shooting at uh dudes at the funeral home, right? All within a minute. 11:30, 911 caller, who could be the teacher who grabbed the phone, says a car is crashing. There's a man with a gun. 11:31, Ramos begins shooting at the school. Police arrive at the funeral home. So they was there within what, 4 minutes? A cop drives into the school parking lot, but doesn't see Ramos, who was crouching between vehicles. The gunman enters the school through the propped open door and walks down the hallway towards rooms 111 and 112, firing off more than 100 rounds. So the response time was crazy. They was there. Three Uvalde police officers enter the school, followed by four more cops, including a county deputy sheriff. The doors to both of the classrooms are locked. 16 more shots are fired. So they were there. You've got cops on the scene inside, and they don't do anything because the door is locked. They're hearing the shots, they're hearing all of this go on. But the fact of the matter is, what I wanted to show was a teacher props open the door. The dude starts shooting. He slides into the door that was left open. The teacher that is suspectedly had called 911, it's still not even confirmed it was the same teacher. Um, Somehow, is off the record, disappeared, not saying nothing. Who knows what? Not saying they was working together. Who knows? But there's just questions that have to be popped up and say, what the hell was really going on? Because once you're hearing about the damn 911 operator that hung up from the shooting over there in Buffalo, now you got to sit back and say, well, damn, are they allowing this stuff to go on? Because there's more. Look at it. Authorities investigating if retired federal agent knew of Buffalo mass shooting plans in advance. So you've got retired federal agents, man. They in these chat rooms, these racist chat rooms, that heard about this information and did nothing and allowed it. Law enforcement officers are investigating whether a retired federal agent had about 30 minutes advance notice of white supremacist plans to murder black people at a Buffalo supermarket. Two law enforcement officials told the Buffalo News. Authorities believe the former agent, believed to be from Texas, oh, really? Look at the connection, was one of at least six individuals who regularly communicated with accused gunman Peyton Gendron in an online chat room where racist hatred was discussed, the two officials said. So, what does that tell us? You got federal agents who are online and dealing in these racist and hatred groups, retired or not. They're in these same, they still in these particular alphabet groups. And then we sit back wondering, oh, or do these people really love us? Are these people really out for us? Or does the federal government really, stand on the side of equality for so-called blacks and Hispanics? And the hell no. They're in chat rooms plotting and discussing secretly, as we just got through reading in Psalms, about destroying and killing our people. And now they're investigating. Well, it's a little late for that, isn't it? Uvalde shooter fired outside school for 12 minutes before entering. So he's outside 12 minutes, firing out shots. We just got through seeing that the cops was on the scene within 4 minutes. Something ain't right with this timeline. Based upon the 911 calls, there's some missing time frames. See, if he's outside for 12 minutes, man, crash his grandmama's whip, hops out, shooting at the funeral home, shooting at the school, not inside the school. He's outside 12 minutes. I mean, and this cat had over 1,000 rounds, man. That's a lot of damn ammo, man, to be carrying around. So he's out for 12 minutes shooting. It says that the cops was on the scene uh by 11:31. The first 911 call went out at 11:28. So within 3 minutes, cops was on the scene. How is he out here shooting for 12? And then conveniently finds an open door in the school and makes his way up in there. Very strange. Very strange. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Because it could go a whole nother way. But you got a question. Local residents voiced anger Thursday about the time it took to end the mass shooting at the elementary school there, as police laid out a fresh timeline that showed the gunman entered the building unobstructed after lingering outside for 12 minutes, firing shots. Could there have been a faster time? Could have been a way that they could? I think so. I think so. But interestingly enough, that didn't happen. And 19 children and two teachers, all of which from the visuals that I seen were of Hispanic descent, children of Israel, uh, lost and confused. But nonetheless, the timeline ain't looking too good for the Uvalde police and the feds that went down there. Let's look at this. So, if y'all heard like a week or so ago, man, Slow Biden went on record and said that if China moves on Taiwan, they are going to back Taiwan militarily and defend them, right? So that was already an engagement and acknowledgement that America is willing to go to war with China if China made a move on Taiwan. Slow Biden jumped off the roof, man, and said that the White House had to come back and say, "Oh, well, he didn't mean that. What he meant was is that militarily similar to Ukraine, where we would help them with weapons and money, we would do that, but not actively on the ground fighting." Strike that off the record, man. He was tripping. He wasn't on his meds and his performance enhancing drugs. You know, they had to slow him down. But China didn't take it that way. China said, "Oh, for real? Okay." So what did they do? It says China follows Biden's remarks by announcing Taiwan military drills. China stepped up and said, "Oh, okay. Well, let's see what's happening." They started doing more military drills. So Slow Biden, man, is the perfect president to get us into World War III. Does anybody think if there's a better president, he's the one? Because he's gonna say something that's gonna make one of the other nations, man, react and just go for broke. He's gonna, go in there as a puppet that he is, and do the biddings of his controllers, and push the panic button. So right there, by him having a quote unquote slip of the tongue, caused China to start ramping up their military drills, man, and to actually move towards a attack on Taiwan. And it didn't matter that America, the U.S. try to backtrack. Ooh, hold on. He didn't mean that, China. Back down, Moab. Too late. China followed President Slow Biden's vow to defend Taiwan militarily by announcing it held military exercises close to the democratically ruled island, underscoring his anger over the U.S. stance. Japan scrambling. See what's going on? Japan scrambles jets after the Russian and Chinese warplanes near airspace during a quad. So not only is Taiwan being threatened by China, Japan now is seeing and witnessing Russian and Chinese warplanes near their airspace, and they're scrambling their jets. They're thinking they're in trouble. Well, we know Japan is allies of America. They're feeling the threats of war. Taiwan's feeling the threats of war. And who's sitting back dishing out the wrath of the fornication, the gray whore, America, saying, "Here, keep sipping. Don't worry. I got your back." Oh, they want Ukraine. Ukraine needs a little bit more of the nasty pee of the great horror America. Oh, they lining it up, and now they're getting ready to be into wars because of America that they don't really want to be in, and they trusting that the white man's gonna get their back. White Zaddy is gonna get their back. Tokyo. This is Reuters. Japan scrambled jets after Russian and Chinese warplanes neared its airspace on Tuesday when Tokyo was hosting the leaders of the Quad grouping of countries that includes the United States. Defense Minister Nobukishi said. Tokyo conveyed, quote, grave concerns to both Russia and China through diplomatic channels. Kishi said at a news conference that was broadcast online. He characterized the incident as a likely provocation by both Beijing and Moscow on a day when U.S. President Joe Biden, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and Australia's newly elected leader Anthony Albanese were meeting in Tokyo. See, and they do that as a provocation. Said the Chinese in Moscow, man, sent some warplanes over there just to slow Biden and the rest of his allies is over there meeting in Tokyo. And then they did the same thing to slow Biden when he went over there to Ukraine. They launched bombs like 200 miles away from him and told him, "Hey, get up out of here, man. We don't want you over here." Matter of fact, do something about it. If you really feel as though you got it like that. So this is the times that we're living in right now, man. Wars, rumors of wars is lit. So let's continue on. Pentagon is working on plans to send troops to protect the U.S. Embassy in Kiev. So, as much as they've been talking about, we're not going to have troops on the ground, didn't Slow Biden say that last year? We will not have troops in Ukraine fighting. Oh, now they're backtracking, saying actually we're working on plans to send some troops over there in the Ukraine. Oh, it's just to protect the U.S. Embassy. Everything else, all the war that's going on around in that city is going to be fought between the Russians and the Ukrainians. As long as they don't come near the U.S. Embassy, we're good. You really think that that's the plan? I mean, they already are still sending troops, money, weapons over there. They're already fighting wars by proxy, man. It's already going down over there, man. Now they're just trying to openly say we got troops over there in the Ukraine, man. And if that's the case, you might as well say World War III is already underway and started. We just seen George Soros. I just put out the article last Wednesday. George Soros talking about, this World War III. Putin's got to be stopped. He already talking about it. NATO's already on deck. Once NATO gets involved, man, in America, it's official. But they're moving slowly. They're spoon feeding everybody the propaganda. They're spoon feeding everybody. It's already going down. Pentagon's working on plans to send the troops to protect the U.S. Embassy. Isn't that nice? So now they can just go on and come clean and say, yes, we've got U.S. troops over there in the Ukraine. Plans to send U.S. forces back into the Ukraine to guard the recently reopened American embassy in Kiev are, quote, underway at a relatively low level. General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said on Monday. The Wall Street Journal reported Sunday that the officials are mulling plans to send special forces to Kyiv to guard the U.S. embassy. The effort is a delicate one as it requires balancing the safety of American diplomats while avoiding what Russia could see as an escalation. You know what they're doing. Oh, no, we're not over here to escalate anything. We're just looking out for our own. You don't think the Ukrainians is over there like, hell no, you already sending us money, you sending us weapons and all that, and now you over here and you're saying, but you won't fight? You think that that's really what's happening? You really think that that's going on? I mean, give me a break. Just like they said, there's no, we're not, there's no chemical lab over here, there's no biological lab over here, and then they come out and say, oh, actually there is, and we have been funding it, but it's not, the U.S. isn't doing it. We've just white man speaking forked tongue, man. You already see what's going on. So expect a escalation of the war with U.S. troops being over there now, and it's going to get worse. Oh, the pox is here. The pox is here. You ready for the next scare? Well, here it is. First possible case is in Sacramento. Patient under investigation recently traveled to areas in Europe where cases of the pox have been confirmed. They saying it It really spread because of some sodomite rave over in Europe. All the sodomites, man, was wilding out, living their La Vida Loca in, Sodom and Gomorrah, spreading like wildfire, man. The Most High smiting they dirty butts, and now they spreading it all around, man. So the pox is already on the move. They already announced that they already got their approval for the jabs. The plot and the plan is already is locking in. Iran blames Israel, vows revenge for a brazen motorcycle assassination of the IRGC colonel. More warfare, man. More hell. Israel, the fake ones, assassinated a colonel in Iran. And that's only going to escalate more war, more tension between them over there. Iran's been waiting to bomb uh, the Revelation 209 people over there. And now they're constantly under attack, but they can't move because they know that America, again, got their hands over there too. See, that's how America's going to get laid out, man. Just like ancient Rome. They were just spread too thin. The territories that they had, the internal warfare that was going on, the economic collapse, man. The same thing that happened in ancient Rome, man, is happening here. They're going to have their hands in too many pots, spread thin, and that's when they're going to get caught slipping. Iran is vowing to avenge what is describing as a brazen assassination of Revolutionary Guard colonel conducted by a foreign intelligence service. Colonel Sayyad Kodai was reportedly a commander in the elite Quds Force, which is the foreign intelligence wing of the IRGC. Israeli media is claiming that he had, quote, planned attacks on Jews and Israelis worldwide. The Sunday killing took place in Tehran when the IRGC colonel was approached by two unidentified gunmen on a motorcycle who shot him in the head. I've agreed for our security forces to seriously follow up on this matter, and I have no doubt that revenge for the pure blood of our martyr will be taken. The country's president, Ibrahim Raisi, said in a speech. So more wars and rumors of wars, man, underway over in Iran, dealing with the in the Revelation 209 folks. They got assassinations going on, man. They talking about Putin just escaped an assassination attempt. They tried to kill him about a month ago. I mean, there's a whole lot of espionage going on, man. A whole lot of madness happening in the world. Western powers sounding alarm on the China plan for the South Pacific. So now the Western powers is all nervous because China is over there colonizing and making deals with a lot of the South Pacific islands, creating small hubs for them to set up militarily, for them to set up economic freedoms over there. Because once they get hit with more of them sanctions and all that, they're going to need outlets to keep their economies thriving because they won't back down in their support of Russia. So look at this. Western power sounded the alarm Thursday over leaked plans to dramatically expand China's security and economic reach in the South Pacific in what one regional leader called a thinly veiled effort to lock island states into, quote, Beijing's orbit. If approved by Pacific Island nations, the wide-ranging draft agreement and 5-year plan, both obtained by the AFP, would give China a larger security footprint in a region seen as crucial to the interests of the United States and its allies. Let's look at this real quick. The second Esdras 15. And I want to read. Where's that at? I think it's in dang, where's that at? I think this is it right here. 15 and I'm gonna read 46 and read down. So second Ezra 15:46 says, and thou Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon and art the glory of her person. So here we're seeing Asia Moab, we're talking about China, we're talking about North Korea, all them. They're trying to be in the glory of America. They're trying to emulate Babylon. And then they're partakers of the hope of Babylon because at the same time, when they're talking bad about America and they're against all their sanctions, you still finding goods here that's been made in China. You still see them shaking hands. You still see them having diplomatic, friendships. They're still supporting America. They've got major real estate investments over here. They're still in league that with Hollywood and all kind of madness, man. So they're still partakers in propping up America. They know that they're not ready to overtake America. They're not ready to step on White Zaddy's toes and say we're taking over, man. Slow Biden, China's got next. No, that ain't happening. But they are going to try to emulate, and thou art the glory of their person. They're going to try to colonize, and they're going to try to move like America. You already see them trying to lock down the technology industry. You see them trying to influence the world with the economy. You see them with the army. You see them everything that they're doing. They're trying to be the next thing, but at the same time, they're not going to try to overstep their boundaries with the white man. Verse 47: Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her. So, what other country is running around here trying to control and dominate the entire world, and they're colonizing smaller nations and trying to force them into being just like them? That's why you see, but China's going to these small islands in the South Pacific. They're trying to colonize them, to influence them through economics. They're over there giving out these loans in Central America, trying to maintain diplomatic ties with Venezuela and with Mexico and with Cuba and all of that, following right after Russia. And now here they go. So because thou hast made thyself like unto her, so they following the blueprint of the so-called white man. It says, and has decked thy daughters in whoredom. See, that country over there, man. They have no problem hoarding out their people. They're working in slave shops and apple factories and the whole nine. You see them over there locked down. You get one case of the DVOC 91, and they lock down all of Shanghai. They got the people locked away in their apartments, man. They can't come out every 2 or 3 days to get some food, and everything is already ramshackled. There ain't no food over there, man. They bagging up the dogs and the cats, saying that they could be infected. Well, they bubbling them things up, man, and serving them up on hot plates after the fact. So they deck their daughters and whoredom, that they might please the glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. They want to be the great whore. They want to, live the life of America in the beast system, man. All they are is parts of the system. Now. They can't be and establish the beast. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore, save God, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy houses with destruction and death. As many advancements as we see in China trying to make moves politically, man, that place over there is still a wasteland. Still jacked up over there. And the Lord said they're gonna get hit with everything that we're reading. Sword, poverty, famine, pestilence, because they're going to try to overstep their bounds, man, and think that they can make war with the beast and they're gonna get destroyed. Why? Because they are trying to follow her that is hated in all her works and inventions. I mean, every nation hates America. And here they are trying to be just like them. So if that's their blueprint, they're gonna get destroyed just like America. So let's look back over here. So now you see the Western powers is getting a little bit nervous because China's out here making moves and recruiting, and as they said here, trying to absorb these island states into Beijing's quote unquote orbit. They want them in their world. Okay. The package would offer 10 small island states millions of dollars in Chinese assistance, the prospect of a China Pacific Islands free trade agreement, and access to China's vast market of 1.4 billion people. See how they do? It's a Chinatown everywhere, man. You got Chinatowns in Panama, Chinatowns in Argentina, Chinatowns in Brazil. You got Chinatowns in Jamaica, Chinatowns in damn near every city in America. That's how they operate, man. Hawaii. So here they go, throwing out a little bit of money, tickling the cheeks of these smaller islands, and saying, look, we'll give you some money. You have free reign in our trade agreements. And you have a vast market of our 1.4 billion people. So when we want to move some of our people over there, man, to help your economy out, we need to get Chinatown set up over there in the Solomon Islands. You see this brother? If he's a brother, we know he's dark. But this is why they're making these particular treaty agreements, man, trying to expand their colonization of the South Pacific Sea, so that when it is time for warfare, they've got military bases lined up all over the place. That's why Australia was nervous when this thing went down. So look at this. NATO scrambling jets to intercept Russian aircraft off of Norway region next to the Finland border. So NATO is scrambling jets. Japan scrambling jets. The instigations of war is going up and up and up. And we're seeing it playing out right in front of us. Look at this. Now look at the so-called white man. You talk about a thief, man. You talking about a straight gangster. U.S. seizes Iranian oil cargo near Greek island, sources say. Right? This is a Reuters article. In the midst of a time when we're seeing oil shortages, diesel shortages, energy shortages, gas, America goes out there, man, and straight jacks oil from the Iranians. Esau's a gangster, man. Hold on. Let me look at this in Job. They caught an Iranian oil tanker out there, man. Caught him slipping. Put a pirate move on him, jacked him, and took their oil from him, and said, "This is ours now." Oh, because you got some Russians that could be uh commandeering a ship, or what do they call it? Some Russian captains moving the cargo. Oh, we got beef with Russia, man. You got these guys moving your oil. We'll take that. In the midst of a shortage, that's what it is. They just pretty much robbed them, took their stuff. Look at Job 24, and let's read verse 14. It says, "The murderer rising with the light killeth the poor and the needy." Well, who's the murderer? Micah 2 says that they lay in their beds, devising all of their evil. So-called white man is constantly always looking about killing the poor and the needy. As much as he's running around talking about how much philanthropy he loves to do, his charitable works, how much he cares for you poor little niggas in spics out there. He wants to save your lives, man. We want to give you medicine and polio jabs and everything else. We want to give you free food and free infected cheese and milk and everything else. Still hasn't repented for the millions of deaths that he caused to the Native Americans, to the blacks and Hispanics, man, the destruction of civilizations. He hasn't repented for none of that, man. Our people is running around here being victims of hate crimes all day long. Has he signed? I mean, Slow Biden just signed the anti-lynching bill in 2022, man. How many times have we been lynched, hung, and burned, and tortured, and thrown up in history books, and it's slapped in our faces every February? And you just now saying, "Hey, we actually think lynching is a hate crime, man. We need to go ahead and write that in the law and say, let's stop that." In 2022, man, for real? Couple Asians get knocked over the head in San Francisco, man. They signed it into law immediately. Say one thing against them, man, you get locked up. But here they are, the murderer rising with the light, killeth the poor and the needy. So there's no question about who rises up as soon as the sun come up, man. Look, and in night is as a thief. So not only is he committing crimes during the day, which involves broad daylight murder and killing of the poor and downtrodden and lost and forgotten, and at night he's popping up as a thief, man. Name me one thing, man, that the so-called white man hasn't stole as a possession. I mean, let's not even talk about all of the inventions that he stole, created patents for. I mean, I was just watching a show on what's the name? I don't think it was it may have been a History Channel, but some of y'all may know, some of y'all may not know about the uh about Bass Reeves, the real Lone Ranger. He done stole that. Here you go, right here. His brother was a lawman that used to go out and you know was pretty much almost like a bounty hunter. And this is where the legend of the Lone Ranger comes from. So, but who takes that? White man goes and takes it, man, and claims it for himself. Throws a mask on, and then gets a Native American sidekick, Tonto, and claims and takes the damn glory of one of our forefathers. So look at this madness. But that's what he does. He steals everything. See, Micah 2:1, it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is lit, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. They covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. I mean, who has that legacy, man? False peace treaties, Jim Crow laws, the Indian Removal Act. I mean, you talking about kidnap, rape, murder. They devise iniquity while they in their beds, man. They sleeping, thinking. They popping no dos. Trying to. If you see all them elites, man, that's what they got all them bags under their eyes, man. They look ran down and demonic. They don't sleep. These cats is up all damn night, man. True vampires. Doing all their wickedness and iniquity at night, man. As soon as the light is up, they practice it because it's in the power of their hand. Well, the earth is in the. I mean, the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. Job 9:24. So, and they covet fields. So we know that he's coveting not only fields and lands and all of that. Well, look what else. He done came in and snatched up this damn oil cargo from the Iranians in the midst of a shortage. So tell me that ain't gangster. The United States has confiscated Iranian oil held on a Russian operated ship near Greece and will send the cargo to the United States abroad, another vessel. Three sources familiar with the matter said. Hello? They take their oil and it said they're going to send that cargo to the United States. It was unclear whether the cargo was impounded because it was Iranian oil or due to the sanctions on the tanker over the Russian nexus. Iran and Russia are facing separate U.S. sanctions. So they figure, hey, if you're under sanctions, you fair game. We taking whatever we want and we're taking it back home. Such is the way of the so-called white man. Far be it from him to steal, rob, and take something and then claim it for himself. Real time, we're seeing the same things that we talk about historically that he did to our people. He's still doing it right now. Let's move on. China and Russia veto new sanctions on North Korea. So here they are working together. Remember, we talked about everybody picking a side and choosing when this whole thing goes down, who and where is standing on what. Well, is there any mystery about the relationship between the Moabites and the Edomites? Haven't they always, had leagues with each other? I mean, Ezekiel 25 tell us that. Judith, here we go. Let's look at it. So this is the Ashurites looking to make war with the children of Israel. And who do they recruit in? Look at this. Judith chapter 7 and the 8th verse. It says, then came unto him all the chief of the children of Esau and all the children of the government. Hold on, let's move up a little bit. It says, but in the second day, Holofernes brought forth all his horsemen in the sight of the children of Israel, which were in Bethulia, and viewed the passages up to the city, and came to the fountains of the waters, and took them, and set garrisons of men of war over them, and he himself removed toward his people. Verse 8, it says, then came unto him all the chief of the children of Esau, and all the governors of the people of Moab and the captains of the seacoast, and said, Let our Lord now hear a word, that there be not an overthrow of thine army. For this people of the children of Israel do not trust in their spears, but in the height of the mountains wherein they dwell, because it is not easy to come up to the tops of their mountains. So here they are, giving Holofernes military advice in regards to trying to seize and destroy the children of Israel. So it lets you know also, man, that the damn Moabites and Edomites constantly are studying us, constantly watching and seeing how to overthrow, when is the right time to attack, when's not the right time to attack, learning and studying our habits. They do that all the damn time. And be it far from them to have a working relationship, since they have been back in the days, the children of Esau and the children of Moab all working together in unison to come against our people. So be it far from them to still have a maintained relationship all the way up until now, where now they can sit back and say, well, China and Russia are looking to go and veto any sanctions against their fellow heathen brother at arms, North Korea. See, North Korea was just what, launching all of them missiles, doing all them tests. China said, well, we're gonna have to go ahead and keep the military drills going. So any sanctions that America was trying to levy on the North Koreans, China and Russia stood up and said, we're not doing that. And we're going to veto that because North Korea is in alignment with us. So now you got three nuclear powers that have created and solidified a relationship that's going to make it all bad for the UN and America. China and Russia on Thursday vetoed a resolution to impose more UN sanctions on North Korea. The U.S. has drafted that resolution in response to a string of missile tests this year. Thursday's vote was the first time the Security Council has split over the House since 2006, when North Korea fired off its first nuclear test. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield said she was disappointed but not surprised. Yeah, you shouldn't be surprised because you already know that they're in league together. We have been circulating a draft of the resolution for 9 months. It's like 9 weeks. In that time, the countries vetoing this resolution have refused to engage on the text despite our commitment to our inclusivity and flexibility during consultations. Among other restrictions, the resolution banned oil and tobacco exports to North Korea. The country's leader, Kim Jong-un, is a chain smoker. Look at this foolishness. So they figure you're going to ban oil and cigarettes because the president loves to smoke cigarettes. Haven't you heard about the times of prohibition, man? You thinking that banning cigarettes did anything? They think that banning the guns is going to stop something. There's always a black market. There's always an underground railroad where people's going to get what they want and get what they need. They figure, oh, ban cigarettes. Let's ban liquor. People were still smoking and drinking and living it up during the damn roaring 20s and in the 30s and all of that. It didn't stop anything. And you thinking, oh, let's cut him off from his cigarettes. Maybe he's going to stop launching nukes. You know damn well he's getting cigarettes from wherever and however he wants. It's ridiculous. Let's move on. Here's one of the headlines that we talked about earlier. Document shed light on secret U.S. plans for apocalyptic scenarios. U.S. is preparing for apocalyptic scenarios. That's right. It all started back in September 11 when they induced the Patriot Act, and we know about 9/11, or at least you should. If you think that had no, do you think the so-called white man had no prior knowledge, had no idea that this would happen, you are a damn fool. I'm just gonna call it what it is. Uh, George Bush ate with Awalaki the day after 9/11. The day before he signed uh he signed an agreement, man, to go invade and Afghanistan, but he needed a reason though. And boom, here comes it. We're not gonna get into all of that. But 9/11 ain't all of what it seemed. What it did was it introduced the Patriot Act. It introduced different laws that still exist right now. We're talking about the NSA, all of the laws when it comes down to America having the ability to impose on your particular quote unquote freedoms and privacies and all that. That's what it did. It opened up all of them doors, right? Now we've got emergency authorization acts needed to. Stop these plagues that's happening. So we got to start infringing on different rights. You can't say this. You can't do that. You can't work. You got to need. You need this. You need that. Lockdown for this many days. See, let's look at this. Newly disclosed documents have shed a crack of light on secret executive branch plans for apocalyptic scenarios like the aftermath of a nuclear attack. Oh, really? And there's been a whole lot of nuke talk going on for the past month, hasn't it? When the president may activate wartime powers for national security emergencies. So, didn't we just have a national emergency with this DVOC 91? Okay. Didn't they have emergency authorizations happening for various reasons and various things that impacted your and my daily life? Okay. Let's read on. Until now, public knowledge of what the government put into those classified directives, which invoke emergency and wartime powers granted by Congress or otherwise claimed by presidents, has been limited to declassified descriptions of those developed in the early Cold War. In that era, they included steps like imposing martial law. Uh-oh. I'm gonna read that again. Uh, they Okay, until now, public knowledge of what the government put into those classified directives, which invoke emergency and wartime powers granted by Congress or otherwise claimed by presidents, has been limited to declassified descriptions of those developed in the early Cold War. In that era, they included steps like imposing martial law, rounding up people deemed dangerous, and censoring news from abroad. It has not been clear what is in the modern directives known as presidential emergency action documents because under administrations of both parties, none have been made public or shown to Congress. So these are secret plans that nobody's even seen. You can't do a public information act and ask to see them. They haven't even been shown to Congress. That's why some of them scratch their heads and some of them are quick to say, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. That's not happening. The U.S. government would never, impose martial law. No, there's no such thing as a FEMA camp. No, there's no such thing as the shutdown of railways and communications and seizing of farmlands. And that would never happen. Well, maybe because Congress, they ain't even showing them. Okay. But the newly disclosed documents which relate to George W. Bush administration efforts to revise the draft orders after the attacks of September 11, 2001 offers clues. So we see that. Let's look real quick at some of those things. Okay. These things were all signed into law during the Cold War in 1962, I believe, under Kennedy. So many of them have either been superseded or rescinded. But here's the deal. Under emergencies, under wartime, it's very possible they could all be reenacted. This is why they're saying we won't say, we can't say what we're going to do or what the emergency action documents contain. Because once they activate them, it's going to be too late for anybody to object. They're going to say, hey, look, we're at war. We can't stop this now. Look at what they had, though. Executive Order 1090. 10990 allows the government to take over all modes of transportation and control highways and seaports. Now, that was superseded by Executive Order 11612. We ain't got time to be going over all of these, but they made a new one, and it's under this particular executive order, right? But these are all powers that they had. Now, could they all be reenacted during times of war? Could they all be, superseded or reinvoked or reinstituted? Absolutely. So Esau can control all modes of transportation, controlling the highways and the seaports. So when they can shut down, whether or not you can hop on your yacht and try to run up out of there, the seaports can get shut down. You can't go to certain highways. You're going to get quarantined off in certain particular cities. You've seen how that already worked out just by quarantining in certain sectors and areas. And you see that happen over there in China. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Executive Order 10995 allows the government to seize control, uh, to seize and control the communication media. Well, guess what? That got revoked by Executive Order 1155C6, right? But you tell me, for those users of their social media, government decides and control the communication media. Do they not have these particular guidelines and community communication restrictions on many of these platforms that are backed by government standard that tell you what you can and can't say, what you can and can't do, or else we'll shut you down, suspend you, seize your channel, seize your page, put you in Facebook jail? So is it beyond the realms of possibility when and during wartime that they control all aspects of media and communication? Absolutely. Think about it. Executive Order 1997 allows the government to take over all electrical, power, gas, petroleum fuels, and minerals. So, ironically, we happen to be in a crisis that's embarking on all of these things being in trouble. Electrical power, gas, petroleum fuels, and minerals. They already have the power to price set gas. Didn't they? We just got through reading the story last week about Washington State and them setting an extra digit on their gas meters to register all the way up to $10 or more a gallon. They're talking about massive blackouts and power outages over the summer and moving into the winter. So any of these particular quote unquote emergencies can cause the government to step in and say we need to seize control of this so that we have the best interest of the people at heart. We need this power. We need this gas. We just seen them hijack a whole oil tanker from Iran and take it back home. Look at this one. Executive Order 1998 allows the government to take over all food resources and farms. Now that was revoked by Executive Order 11490. So although they saying all these revocations and rescindings, and when's a white man ever held true to any of his damn covenants? That's why they've got these new ones that they will not reveal to anybody until the ish hits the fan, as they say. But we see was already how far he's willing to go. You think he's going to be nicer, or you think he's going to be more merciful and more understanding, or not as constrictive, or you think he's going to go this level or worse? You decide. Taking over all the food resources and the farms allows the government. The Executive Order 11,000 allows the government to mobilize civilians into work brigades under government supervision. Can you say camps? Can you spell FEMA? Oh, okay. 11,001 allows the government to take over all health, education, and welfare functions. 11,002 designate the Postmaster General to operate a national registration of all persons. Oh, national registration, huh? Of all persons. We need to track everybody. Well, didn't they try that with the contact tracing apps on the phones when the DVOC 91 was running loose, going crazy, trying to keep track of everybody? Registration of all persons. How many people jobs made you sign up and say whether or not you got inoculated or not, so you can get thrown in the database? Remember that? See how they work the crises to institute particular laws just to kind of say, hey, look, let's see how they react. Let's see if they follow along. Let's make sure that we've got control. Okay. 11,003 allows the government to take over all airports and aircraft, including commercial aircraft. 11,004 allows the Housing and Finance Authority to relocate communities. Oh, really? They might have to kick you out. Build new housing with public funds. Designate areas to be abandoned and establish new locations for populations. Forcibly moving you, huh? Well, did they not do that with the construction of the? We talked about that here in LA. The construction of, what was it? The 105 freeway. People that got removed. What about the Jordan Downs? Them projects that got taken down. How about the El Viso Village over there in East LA? That got taken down. Or the Ujima projects that got smashed down. and forcibly move people up out of there? Is he capable of doing this? Even though he's saying, "Oh, we revoked that. Don't worry." There's so many instances that we see that they've actually still carried out these things without utilizing and declaring it as an executive order. So we can't be ignorant and think that it ain't going down, or possibly they can go back right to it. All they got to do is say it's an emergency. We're at war. Nukes is flying around. We need to go ahead on and get everything under complete control. 11,005 allows the government to take over railroads, inland waterways, and public storage facilities. Uh, 11,051 specifies the responsibility of the Office of Emergency Planning and gives authorization to put all executive orders into effect in times of increased international tensions and economic or financial crisis. Oh, really? Is that happening now? How's the stock market doing? Oh, just because you got a little recovery at the end of the week. How's your crypto? Huh? What are you seeing within the housing market? What about globally? Is there an economic and financial crisis that's going on right now? Are we talking about food shortages? What are we talking about here? Notice how all of these things are things that are happening right now. That all they need to do is reenact, re-evoke, or rescind any of these particular executive orders and reestablish the new ones. We're not gonna go over all of them, but you see what's going on. This is what he's got in the power of the pen to do. These are the things that he's got lined up for quote unquote apocalyptic scenarios. And he's utilizing these particular crises to implement all of the above. They're all waiting. And that's why they ain't showing them to Congress and they ain't making them to the public, because once the ish hits the fan, it's going to be too late. They're just going to say, sign it, just like they did with Slow Biden and the $40 billion that they gave to Ukraine. He was all the way in damn North Korea or South Korea meeting up with the president over there, and they said, we got the budget approved, 40 billion to go to Ukraine, man. We need to go ahead and fax this over to you so you can sign it. We ain't even waiting for you to come back. He signed that on the road. And in the blink of an eye, man, you had cats, man, in they congressional meeting saying, man, we didn't have time to read the damn bill. We don't know what's going on. And once they was already signed, they start reading and seeing all this money was getting distributed out to Ukraine and other government agencies. It was clocking money. They like, man, what the hell is going on? We got problems right here. And here we are dishing out and finding billions of dollars to ship away. So this is what's going on, man. They quick to work their evil at night, and in the morning they practice it. So before it's all said and done, man, nobody knows what's happening. Bill done got signed and it's over with. Here's one right here. War powers of the president. This one goes into the communications. They're going to determine what and who can say what. Look at this. During the continuance of a war in which the United States is engaged, so we see that America's on the brink of and being engaged in a war. So at any particular time, he can raise up and say, "We're at war. We need to go ahead and engage with war powers of the president and the executive orders." Okay. The president is authorized, if he finds it necessary for the national defense and security, to direct that such communications as, in his judgment, may be essential to the national defense and security shall have preference or priority with any carrier subject to this chapter. So he can determine and say and have preferences of what is priority, is what can be communicated, what can't be communicated. They set the standard of what you can and can't say and what you can and can't do. They already have experimented with all, like I said, the community guidelines, how the languages have changed, hate speech, everything else that goes on, where they can suspend, take away your channel, do all that other stuff. And it's all based upon interpretation of whatever they say goes. And you can appeal, you can't appeal, you can't do none of that. They act like you got the ability to appeal, and you don't. What they say goes, and that's it. Brother channel got, Facebook page got suspended because he was talking about female lynchings and the history of it. And they suspended him talking about that's hate speech. This is the type of foolishness that's going on. So these are the directives that they got going on, man. Talking about ceasing communication, changing obstruction of interstate or foreign communications. Look at it. It shall be unlawful for any person during any war in which the United States is engaged to knowingly or willfully, by physical force or intimidation, by threats or physical force, obstruct or retard or aid in obstructing or retarding interstate or foreign communication by radio or wire. So if they're saying that if you can't knowingly or willfully utilize communications, interstate or foreign, using a radio or wire with another nation that they're engaged in warfare with. So they can cut you off. You can't, no more freedom of speech. You know, if you supporting a particular war or whatever, you can't do that. They're gonna lock you down for that. All right. So these are just some of the things that they're working on. They did a poll. People was wondering, what's more important to people right now, worrying about sanctioning Russia or worrying about the economy. Majority of people saying, man, we're over this Russia madness. We got problems at home now. You notice ain't nobody talking about pray for Ukraine no more, right? Nobody's running around with them banners and they little, lapels and ribbons no more. People's kind of over that now. They starting to see this really don't have nothing to do with us. It's a civil matter over there. Oh, but they're getting drug into it because America utilizes it for propaganda. They seeing America dishing out billions and billions of dollars. Meanwhile, while they're standing in lines at food banks, the lights is flickering on at home because the power might go out. And brothers and sisters, man, just hit me up last week. The next day, it might have been the same night after the last DSTM I did. We talked about the energy shortages. Brother and sister hit me up, said, "Man, is y'all power out?" Because they live down the way from me. I'm like, "No, we good." They said, "Man, we blackout right now." I said, "Oh, there it goes. There it goes." So people are saying the economy is more of an issue now than worrying about punishing Russia, man. Nobody talking about Putin's war. Or that propaganda then died out. Why? Because food, clothing, and shelter are now people's priority because now they're starting to feel the crunch and the pinch of the economy and where it's headed. Americans are becoming less supportive of punishing Russia for launching its invasion of Ukraine if it comes to the expense of the U.S. economy, a sign of rising anxiety over inflation and other challenges, according to a new poll. While broad support for U.S. sanctions has not faltered, the balance of opinion on prioritizing sanctions over the economy has shifted, according to the poll from the Associated Press. NORC Center for Public Affairs Research. Now, 45% of U.S. adults say the nation's bigger priority should be sanctioning Russia as effectively as possible, while slightly more, 51% say it should be limiting damage to the U.S. economy. So, inflation, shrinkflation, the cost of living, everything else is starting to be more in the forefront of people's minds than the propaganda and the madness and the wag the dog tactics that's being used for this whole war that's going on. People are starting to feel it at home, right? So, that's is only going to heighten the anxiety of people in these streets. This is why you see people out here, man, bugged out, smashing and grabbing and robbing and stealing and doing all kind of madness to survive because now it's hitting home. Let's move on. Look at this. California surrendered guns to escape soaring gas prices. Can you imagine? I mean, I'm not mentioning nothing about, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. 134 firearms exchanged in gas for guns buyback. 134 for a $50 gas card. Is it that bad? I mean, it's bad. Yeah, you talking about gas out here is over $6 on average out here. But I'm not surrendering anything for a damn $50 gas card. I mean that's pretty much gonna fill up, maybe get you half a gas, depending on the type of car you got. Most cars right now, you're gonna pay more than $50 to fill your tank up. You're not even getting a full tank of gas, man, but you about to surrender the security of your home. Maybe some of these, they did say that a lot of these people they gave them back, and there's no questions asked. So I'm sure a lot of these cast men is giving up stuff that they trying to get rid of. They don't want stuff traced back to them. But this is how bad it's gotten, man. People trading in their guns for gas. Residents of Sacramento, California's capital, surrendering their guns in exchange for $50 gas cards from the local police departments. A gas card gun buyback transferred 134 guns from community members to the Sacramento Police Department. According to a department news release Sunday, it was almost like it was planned. The deal saw over 100 people participate in a deal. Get out of here. I'm not doing that. But many people have. So now, back on the pox, they got 10 cases identified in the U.S. So that hype is getting ready to pop up even more. So California, Colorado, Florida, Massachusetts, New York, Utah, Virginia, and Washington all have cases, and know that it's going to spread. Know that this is going to be one of the next directives, in addition to the BA.2 DVOG 91 variant that's spreading like wildfire, preparing everybody for a harsh summer and even worse winter. Slow Biden is not taking off the executive orders and the executive emergency authorizations when it comes down to the mandates, lockdowns, and everything else. So everything's still lined up. Everything's still lined up. Um, Give me 1 second. Let me see what I missed. Let me double check on the chat. Make sure y'all good. Yeah, Manaf, you gotta double check your notifications. It's been a lot of brothers and sisters, man, been hitting me up telling me that they've been unsubscribed to the channels. They not getting no notifications no more. So everybody that's in the chat, man, make sure that you obviously if y'all got in, but there's been a number of brothers and sisters, man, who actually have been unsubscribed and their notifications turned off. So just double check y'all stuff, man, because they definitely plotting and trying to shut me up and shut brothers up that's with me. Um, yeah, Kanai, you speaking about the the shooting? Yeah, I seen them videos. I seen them videos. Wow, wow. Yeah, it's going down. Shalom to my brother down there in Chattanooga, man. Shalom, Mike. BLW. That's my brothers, my young boys. Uh, what you got over here? You see, well, hey, well, you're gonna have to surrender at least three or four of your pieces, man, if you're gonna get a whole tank of gas. So that 50 ain't gonna do you no good, huh? You might as well use that 50, man. Go buy you a box. Buy a box of 50. You know what I mean? Uh, I'm a double back, man, and keep it going. But I just want to make sure. Hold on, there is something I do need to see real quick. I do got something. Give me 1 second, y'all. I forgot. I forgot something. Because there is something I want to play for y'all. Okay, yeah, there you go. There you go. So we're gonna look at the faces of evil in a minute, man. One of these damn heathens. All right, hold up. Let me get back. Okay. So we see here the pox is out. They trying to make sure everybody's prepared for the next thing that's coming. Okay. Let's move on. Here's what I wanted to share with y'all too. The Economist. This is a magazine that is funded by and that is promoted by the Rockefeller Foundation. Do we need to talk about that name and who they are and what they represent? I don't think so. I don't think so. But the Economist magazine, online publication, this is a Rockefeller Foundation source, right? And what is the headline that they say? And if you look at these details of the wheat, those are skulls. Very interesting artwork that they did on here. The coming food catastrophe. This is the Rockefeller Foundation saying that this is happening. Rockefeller Foundation says 6 months remain before a massive, quote, massive immediate food crisis unfolds across the entire world. That's a quote from the Inside article. I just wanted to get the exact highlight just to move on time for time's sake, right? But they are saying there is 6 months remain before a quote massive and immediate food crisis unfolds across the entire world. People thinking it's already one right now. They're already over there in the Middle East, man, riding and wilding out, trying to choose what they're going to do as far as providing food and what they're going to eat each day. Africa already going through food crisis and uh, mismanagement of food over there. You've already got countries that are shutting down their borders for exports so that they can keep their food within their countries. We've covered some of those countries before. Now the Rockefellers are saying a massive and immediate food crisis. So, brothers and sisters, man, I've said it until I'm blue in the face. Take it for what it's worth. Do what you will with the information, man. Famine is coming, and it's already here for many. The food banks are already acknowledging that they already can't get the supplies and the food that they used to be able to get. You've seen when they already pulled out the DVOC 91 and people had to go to them food banks for food. Lines was lined up around the block by car and by foot. People are running out of food. The supply chain is broke down to where things that we used to be able to see and get normally in the store is not there no more. Utilize your wisdom and your knowledge. Isaiah 33 and 6, man, to keep yourself stable during these times. Don't let nobody tell you you stupid if you got some cans goods and you ain't got no faith if you ain't got no right. Listen, that is wisdom and that is knowledge. Is you don't wait until the time where there is nothing. You don't wait until the time that there is stuff, but you can't afford it because the scriptures tell you that in Revelation the 6th chapter. It tell you that a measure of wheat and barley is going to be a whole day's labor worth. Your day's labor income is what's going to get you a little bit of wheat and grain to survive for the day. We've talked about that on to ad nauseum, right? So what causes part of the crisis is not only a scarcity of food and goods, but what is available you can't afford. So is it better to have a few things on deck? We know, obviously, the Most High is going to sustain, take care of. He said his servants is going to eat, his servants is going to drink. Keyword, servants, though, is going to have those abilities and going to have the favor of the Lord during them times. But you got to be able to make sure that you got, I ain't saying, make sure your whole garage and back, you barely got walk in the room and you got, at that point, you ain't leaving no room for the faith of the Lord to kick in. You trusting in, the treasures upon earth. Where Yahweh Shah said, don't do that. Moth and dust can corrupt those things. But you want to make sure that you've got some provisions, man, for the things that's coming. You can't tell people more. How many times can the Most High say, man, famine's coming, famine's coming. Make sure you're ready. Famine's coming. We just got to read, man. The prudent man foreseeth the evil. So if they're saying massive, massive, and immediate food crisis is going to unfold across the entire world, and you sit back and say, "Oh, that's BS. Whatever." You know, I'm always going to be able to eat. Sure, but by what means though? I mean, how many of us people is going to be resorting to robbing and stealing and breaking into homes to eat? Not because you got it. And don't run around advertising and telling your neighbors and everybody what you got. Because they're going to say, oh, we got that? It ain't going to be you. We got that? Oh, okay. So you got to be wise. You got to be wise. But check this out, though. This is David Beasley. David Beasley. He one of the he's one of the elites. He was at one of the Davos meeting over the weekend. He's a director of the UN World Food Program. World Food Program. He's a director over it. And let's see what he's saying.
Seen a food security global crisis, and what better place to be with world leaders from the government sector as well as the private sector, the major corporations, some of the wealthiest of the wealthy, who, as I'm telling them, the crisis is here, and we can't solve it without your engagement. From the billionaires to the private sector to the government, we've got to come together to end this crisis. Otherwise, millions of people are going to die in famine. There'll be destabilization and mass migration. But together, we can get it done. And so at Davos, let's get it done.
Yeah, please. Now he's the head of the World Food Program, and he's saying that there is going to be mass starvation, billions dead, unless he can convince these Edomites with billions of dollars to pool their resources together and try to help everybody in the world. You think they want that? Hell no. Bill Gates is on record saying that he wants to reduce population. Rockefellers on record saying they need to reduce population. Henry Kissinger on record saying they need to reduce population. These things are engineered. These things are planned. These things are part of the quote unquote New World Order, Great Reset, Build Back Better program, the whole nine. And he's sitting there rubbing elbows with all of them, thinking he's going in there with a cape on saying, we got to pull it together. We can stop this. No, you can't. Because the Most High already said this was going to happen and this was coming. Let me hear it one more time.
Government sector as well as the private sector, the major corporations, some of the wealthiest of the wealthy, who, as I
He said he's amongst the government sector, the private sector. He's amongst the wealthiest of the wealthy. That's what that whole meeting, the Davos group, was about all this past week.
I'm telling them the crisis is here, and we can't solve it without your engagement. From the billionaires to the private sector to the government, we've got to come together to end this crisis. Otherwise, millions of people are going to die in famine. There'll be destabilization and mass migration. But together, we can get it done. And so at Davos, let's get it done.
They ain't trying to get nothing done. They're going to get it done, all right. They're going to get done at the destruction of people. So the word is out. I mean, there you have it. All right, let's move on. Ironically, here we are dealing with baby food, formula shortages or whatnot. And here's Biomilq out of North Carolina. So-called white woman under the funding of, you guessed it, Bill Gates. Same one who's got the largest owner of farmland in America. Same one who's funded Monsanto and the GMOs. Same one who's dropped plenty of money on Impossible Meat and Beyond Meat. Same one who's now talking about, let me help you fund this fake human milk. I mean, they out there, man, taking the cells from the mammary glands and doing everything, man, trying to create breast milk. And all of a sudden, there's a shortage on formula. And who comes to the rescue? Let's look at this. Lab grown, quote, human milk may be just 3 years away. Be it far from the so-called white man to push through on an FDA approved medical emergency. There are reports of some babies already being hospitalized for malnutrition and getting jacked up because they can't get no formula. Mothers may not be able to breastfeed and all of that. And it now I've seen some reports that say, women with implants, you can still breastfeed. And then there are some reports that say you can't. But guess what? All these sisters running around here, man, following after the Kardashian curse, inflating their bodies with artificials in their ass cheeks and in their damn breasts, or with fat transferring and silicone and everything else. and now you can't breastfeed because you was too busy trying to be Instagram famous, and you relying on baby formula that you can't feed your kids no more. I mean, you just fell into a whole damn trap. So, to the rescue, breast milk is the perfect food for babies, but not all mothers are able to breastfeed. And with adoption of surrogacy, parents don't have the option. Enter Biomilq. The North Carolina based startup is working to create human milk outside the body, from burgers to breasts. Oh, notice how they make that link. The idea first came to co founder and chief science officer Leela Strickland in 2013 after she heard about the world's first lab grown burger. A cell biologist by training, Strickland wondered if similar technology could be used to culture human milk producing cells, she tells CNN Business. Strickland had struggled to produce enough breast milk for her first child. Quote, a lot of women are grappling with this, she says. Globally, only 1 in 3 babies receives as much breast milk in their first 6 months as experts recommend, says the World Health Organization. Instead, many parents rely on formula. The milk formula industry was worth over 52 billion in 2021, according to the market research provider Euromonitor International. So, as the article continues on, you probably can even see the video on YouTube. It goes on to say that Bill Gates uh, gave them multi millions of dollars for the research. He's got his hands in there. And what's interesting is there's a movie I just watched it yesterday called it's on Amazon. It's called I think it's called American Refugee or something like that. But it goes into societal collapse, everything's jacked up, right? And it's a black family. They move out into the country, and they've got Edomite neighbors. Long story short, they end up having to get with the Edomite neighbors, living in a bunker. And there's a scene where there's a young Edomite, she has a baby and all that, and she can't breastfeed. She's struggling. She all jacked up. She don't know what to do. She can't do it. And the sister actually takes the baby and starts nursing him because the baby's about to die. And she's already nursing because she already has a baby. Pulling a whole nother damn mammy, letting the damn white baby, get all the nutrients from the black woman. You know, it's kind of a corny movie. They got some principles in there that you definitely would take to heart, especially in the days and times that we living in right now. But it's got the brother from damn, what's the name of that? He played Puffy on the Notorious movie, and he played in a couple other movies. You was gonna say what, Bayan? Oh, you was about to write what? Oh, they was gonna kidnap just like back in the day. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. But I forgot the name of it. I think it's called American Refugee. Uh, I think that's it. If anybody's interested, is that it? Nah. But I'll find it. I'll tell y'all later. Next time I pop up. But it's on Amazon. Um, is that the name of it, Bayan? Is that the name of it? American Refugee. Did you see that? Yeah, and they kidnapped the sister. That's why, man. Hey, Jake's got to be careful too, because you get some of these Jakes, man, that live in these rural areas with these Edomites and be thinking, oh, they gonna be friends because when the shit hits the fan, everybody, okay, American Refugee. That's it. We're gonna be friends because we see everything going down, man. Man, them Edomites, man, took them Jakes, start having their ass working for him, and dude tried to make moves on his wife, man, kidnapped him, kicked the damn Jake and his son out at gunpoint. Mosai said, man, never trust our enemies. And don't ever sleep. But watch that movie, y'all, if you can on Amazon. All right, let's move on. We seeing here violence is rising and some employees are fighting back against shoplifters. So all the smashing grass, man, people is running up in the stores, just brazenly, loading up their bags and leaving. Now they starting to see, man, employees is fighting back. So y'all be careful out there in these stores too, because as people is out there stealing, some of the employees are being encouraged by their employers or just morally to stand up and say, the hell with that, we fighting back. We ain't letting you rob and steal and take from us, and they can get ugly in these stores. Okay. So just be careful. You already see, man, it's beyond the damn, ignorant jakes that you see on World Star fighting over, at Burger King and Popeyes and doing the dumb stuff. They talking about the people who's in there really robbing these stores, loading up their bags, taking, uh, food, taking, jewelry, taking medications. You know, they out here defending themselves from stuff like that. All right. And you don't want to be caught in the crosshairs and the crossfire, man, with some folly go on. And, Jake's is out there wilding out. So just be careful out there in that store. They saying violence is rising amongst employees, shoplifters. If you're working at these stores, hey, stay out the way. Let the stores is insured. They gonna get theirs. You ain't got to worry about it. You ain't got to feel like you got to put your life on the line, man, to help stop somebody from running about the store with, some damn prescriptions and hair grease and whatever else they trying to steal. Stay out the way. Sometimes it ain't worth your life trying to defend your enemy's empire. All right, let's look. Another mass shooting. Just because it ain't in America don't mean it ain't happening. Mexico shooting, 11 dead, 5 injured as gunmen rampage through a hotel and bars. Why they not talking about this? America's so keen about humanitarian efforts. They so worried about what everybody else is doing. They so worried about human life, but don't want to talk about what happened over here in Mexico. 11 dead, 5 injured. Horrifying scenes happened at the Gala Hotel and in two bars in Linda Vista neighborhood in the city of Celaya, northwest of Mexico City. Uh, the attack started at about 10 p.m. local on Monday night. Police and emergency services rushed to the scene as locals say more than 30 gunshots were heard. A group of armed men wearing hoods arrived in two trucks, Telemundo 20 reports. Witnesses told local news that about 15 men launched the attack at the hotel and nearby bar. So, the cartels are still running wild, running loose, man. Over 100,000. Over 100,000 are dead down there in Mexico because of these cartel wars. So do the math, and you tell me if is that not a humanitarian crisis? Is that not mass murder and genocide going on, even at the hands of their own people? But where's America at? Oh, America's too busy funneling the drugs. America's too busy, helping the dope get over here, helping the damn heroin and helping the weed and helping the crack and everything else get on over here, facilitating the means so that American can stay hooked on the drugs, the fentanyl and everything else. Look at this. Something weird is going on with our universe. Hubble detects changes in the rate of the expansion that cannot be explained by current physics. On Earth, in the heavens, I mean, the Hubble telescope is saying, look, we're seeing something weird going on in the universe that can't be explained. They're talking about how the universe is actually expanding and opening up. Well, what's coming through? I don't have no answers for this one. And I don't have, I'm not going to delve into any scriptural reasoning because you may get so, oh, he's stargazing. Oh, he's into, astrology, looking at the stars too much. No, I'm not doing all of that. But what we are going to notice is that there's stuff happening all over, not only the world, but in the heavens as well. And here they are being baffled by what's going on. I mean, you see the so-called white man keep talking about all of the UFO sightings and all of the declassified documents and everything that's happening and the phenomenon that's happening in the firmament and whatnot, right? Now they even saying looking beyond the firmament, Something is happening out there and we can't explain it. And it seems as though the universe is opening up and expanding. Why? Is something trying to come through? Is something getting ready to make its way through? Uh, who knows? I'm gonna just leave y'all with that, right? LA had an earthquake, 4.3. Uh, significant tremors that felt downtown. I didn't feel it. This happened on Thursday. I didn't feel it, but just to know that we still are rocking and rolling, man. We still are in the crosshairs of an incident that could spell serious damage if a major quake hits. Robots are helping the older New Yorkers fight social isolation. Well, who created the idea that you need to be socially isolated? Who's talking about being locked down and being, stuck in quarantine, making sure you have gloves and mask on and you can't leave out the house for fear of something grabbing a hold of you? This is very similar to something coming up out of damn iRobot, where your only damn companion is your damn robot who monitors and makes sure you don't leave out the house, who will report you if you do anything, so you can talk to him and you can do whatever else. This is the so-called white man's idea. You stay in the house, man. You can talk to my inventions. So they're preying on the old folks, man. Telling them, man, you can stay in the house and let the robots be your best friend. LEQ is what they call. All right, but it's just again par for the course on what they're trying to do, man. Social isolation. That's how they line everybody up. That's when you move into the Agenda 2030, you know, ideology, having people be forced to live into government subsidy, micro-sized apartment livings, right? All in the name of sustainability, to help save the earth, to make sure everybody's eating, to make sure everybody. It all sounds good, but at the same time, it's all a governmental isolation control, man. Where you lose everything, they gain everything. You're on food rations. They're monitoring everything you do by your phones, your apps. Uh, and they gonna have the damn robots in the damn house monitoring, watching, and telling you what you can and can't do, warning you if you don't abide by their rules. They'll report you. So we already see it happening. Robots are helping the New Yorkers fight social isolation. Robotic crab, tinier than a flea, becomes the smallest ever remote control robot. I mean, just the technology, man, that the so-called white man's got. You talking about a crab, a robotic crab, smaller than a flea, that he can put in the air to monitor with cameras to provide tracking on you, listening to you. Uh, you can ingest these things. I mean, look at this. A miniature robotic crab, tinier than a flea, has become the smallest ever remote control robot. Measuring just a half a millimeter wide, it can walk, bend, twist, turn, and even jump. The remarkable record-breaking micro machine has developed by engineers at Northwestern University and comes in the form of a tiny peaky-toe crab. The same team also developed millimeter-sized robots resembling inchworms, crickets, and beetles. Although the research is exploratory at the moment, they believe the technology might bring the field of robotics closer to realizing micro-sized robots that can perform practical tasks inside tightly confined spaces. The researchers also produced a wing microchip last year that was the smallest ever human-made flying structure. So you see what levels this man is moving on. Just imagine the diabolical things that he can do with these things. As you thinking, oh, it's a fly on the wall. Meanwhile, man, they over there just listening in on every damn thing you talking about, picturing everything, setting you up for blackmail, doing whatever. That's what he's up to. Okay, I can't leave y'all without looking at this damn dumb. It's always gonna be some folly going on. Look at this. This is that Ammonite Japanese man. I've decided give up being a human and become a collie. Japanese man spends $15,000 on an ultra realistic dog costume so he can live like an animal. This is where the world is going to, man. This cat done spent 15 million, it's like $15,000 for this realistic dog costume. And if you see the video, man, he's walking around on all fours, looking like a dog. I mean, living like a. It's unbelievable. And this is the type of madness that's going on in there. This is why the so-called white man can talk about these non-binary discussions, non-gender discussions, while he can change what it is to be quote unquote human. All of this stuff, man. This is where the LGBTQ HIV stuff gets so damn dangerous because this is what it leads to. You could be a kid in a damn school. Me and my kids be talking about that. It be dumbass kids in the school talking about what was it? Let's say a teacher asks a kid a question, asks him to respond. He says, I can't talk. I'm a pen." And the teacher says, "What are you talking about? I'm a pen. I don't know about being a human anymore. I'm just a pen." And now you can get violated as a teacher because you're denying what this kid wants to be identified as. You see the identity politics and the folly that's going on. It'd be stuff like that that's happening. There was another damn tranny man. This dude said that he was a what did he say? I think he said he was a dog too. He's a dog at night, or where? No, he's a wolf at night, but during the day he's a tranny that works his normal 9 to 5. I covered that story last year. And here's his foolishness, man. Lifelong dog lover Toko-san paid a Japanese company for a life-size dog suit. San said he fulfilled a lifelong dream of becoming an animal. A video of Toko went viral online once he introduced the world to his alter ego. I mean, you talk about the world going to hell in the handbasket, man, and here he is worried about being a damn dog. That's his escapism. This is how he thinks he's going to make it up out of here. Oh my goodness, y'all. Here's another one, man. Newly released body cam footage video shows the moment a white Houston police officer fatally shoots a black suspect just a second after exiting his patrol car. The suspect family claims Jalen Randall did not have time to comply before he was killed. If you see the video, I mean, literally, man, as soon as he gets out the car, he says, "Show me your hands." And Jake can't even get all the way out the damn car before he's already shooting. I mean, where's Black Lives Matter at? Where's all these protests at? Where? You already know what time it is, man. Another brother fell at the hands of these damn police, and now the cop is under quote unquote investigation. This happened down in Houston, man. Chilling body cam footage reveals the moment a white Houston police officer fatally shot a black suspect on April 27th after a car chase. Houston narcotics officer Shane Privet yells at 29-year-old Jalen Randall to put his hands up. A shot goes off and Randall falls to the ground. Officers later found a handgun in the bag Randall was carrying, but it was not visible at the time Privet shot. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump is representing the family and who claims Randall was not given time to comply before the officer pulled the trigger. Absolutely. And they found a handgun in the bag that was zipped up, that was not exposed. And you're in Houston where cats have guns all the damn time. So was it even understood whether or not the gun was legal? Who knows? All we know is another brother then got killed. And as soon as the cop shot, he goes, "Oh shit!" Like it was an accident or something. Give me a break. Let's look at some of a couple of lies from Slow Biden, man, before we close out. So here's two different headlines, man. On the same day, plans to forgive $10,000 in student debt per borrower announced by the Biden administration. May 27th. So they said plans is already in motion for $10,000 student loan forgiveness has already been announced by the Biden administration. But look at this. May 27th, the White House says no decision has been made on student loan forgiveness. This is what happens when you listen to so-called white man. You know, it's an election year. We know the November primaries is coming up, man. He's just playing with Jake's emotions. One minute they talking about, yeah, $10,000 is gonna be forgiven. We already got it lined up. Next minute they say, oh, no decision's been made. All on the same day. Rise in the DVOC 91 deaths hits life insurance. So life insurance companies, man, have been complaining. They talking about how the death toll has been risen up, and it's not because of the DVOC 91. They are experiencing massive deaths and insurance claims, and it wasn't related to the DVOC 91. And didn't we read another story about a week and a half ago that talked about how many deaths uh, were being identified after people had gotten their medicine in their arm? Many deaths happened after they got that medicine. So it's been fun. It's been an adventure. It's been another time for us to reflect and see what the hell is going on in the earth, man. And as we can see, ain't too much good happening. Ain't too much good. You feel me? Uh yeah, Karatazar, they pretty much are nanobots. I mean, you talking about the size is the nano, but if you talking about these things being smaller than a flea, yeah, it's pretty much nanotech. Now, they're not talking about it being injectable inside the body, but the they definitely um they definitely are looking at the technology, the robotics, putting it out there. He talking about Cobra Commander, huh? Yeah, that's about right. So there we go, y'all. This is episode number 113, man. DSTM, don't shoot the messenger. Hopefully everybody found some information worthy of absorbing, today. And everybody is enjoying and has a blessed Shabbat. Appreciate everybody tuning in and supporting. Uh, if you need to reach out to us, man, I'm gonna scroll down below our contact information. Um, and it is what it is, man. Everybody, man, be vigilant. Stay prayed up, man. Continue to fear the Most High. Keep these commandments, man, solid and near to your heart, man. The Most High is actually looking for us to worship Him in spirit and in truth. It's that time, y'all. You can see what's going on earth, man. It's not time for play. Time for everybody really, continue to be locked in, man, and lock in to the word of the Lord, man. So that's what it is. That's what's gonna be. It's your brother Mouth. I acquire first name. IQ is all the same. Shout out to everybody that was in the chat today, man, assisting and being there in support. And everybody that found this information useful, pass it along, man. Share it. Make sure that you are subscribed. You like the content. Wipe your feet if you have not done so. Some of y'all playing games. I seen some of y'all ain't wiped them feet. Some of y'all like to just slide on in, man, eat off the plate, leave the dirty dishes on the table, walk right out, trailing out, mud out my damn house, man. What kind of madness is that? Come on. Some of y'all don't be some of y'all ain't hip to the game yet. That's some of y'all who just been kind of quiet and just kind of watching, pay attention and don't comment. Okay, that's all cool. I don't mind that. I got room in the back. There's plenty of chairs. But if you're gonna come in, man, wipe your feet, man. Wipe your feet. Don't be rude. So hit the like button. Make sure you guys are double checking your subscriptions and your notifications. Because again, they have been unsubscribing brothers and sisters off the channel. They've been turning off the notifications. I've gotten that from multiple people notifying me and telling me. There's people that thought I fell off, thought I wasn't, doing DSTMs no more, thought we wasn't teaching no more on Sabbath classes and all of that. And I'm like, what? No, check your notifications. And they hit me back. Yeah, sure enough, man. They unsubscribed me. So the plot thickens. Plot thickens, y'all. So that's what it is, man. So I'm going to get up out of here, man. Get prepared for our closing Sabbath class. Brothers and sisters, man, tune in for that. That is going to be kicking in around 4 p.m. Pacific time. Some of y'all Sabbath may be over and you're going to get on with life. All good. But if you still got time and you still looking for some more food, we'll be serving some more up in a few hours. All right. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and close out, man. Always fear the Most High, keep the commandments, man. Don't shoot your messenger, man. Shalom to the fam.